got drunk at the hilly. I can't PD and I can't find my willy.
I'm just here for a little attention.
Yeah, I got severe hypertension. So why you trying to get to know a Higgy better?
Canton whores, Bella's mom and Schmarietta.
I don't know, I'll give it a go. ATF's big show, I ain't no hoe.
I don't need a new man with the double D rack. Never mind, Higgy, your game is whack.
You're the whacker to my weed.
Your game is whack.
I'm not trying to hear that, see?
I'm not one of the girls trying to get locked down.
Prince Higgy, baby, Jameson crown.
I get down with the hilly low comp ticket.
16 whiskeys is how I kick it.
And you get excited for a midnight snack. I already told you, your game is whack.
You're the whacker to my weed.
Your game is whack.
I'm not trying to hear that, see?
Your game is whack.
You're the whacker to my weed.
Your game is whack.
I'm not trying to hear that.
I like sleeping alone. This won't go all night. A little needy and strange.
It's true love at first sight. I'm the real deal. I do what I gotta do. From the rip, my whole heart's for you.
Your whole heart is not for me. Not a half, not a quarter, not a claw, not a reed.
You know what's the problem? You're trouble and you're hot. I'm big, thick neck daddy Higgy. He's not.
I got a question, not to be rude. Are you queer? Cause you keep calling me dude.
Are you glad that you had walked me out? No self-doubt and you didn't cop out. No last words, I'll just mutter abide. Don't diss the caterpillar and sweat the butterfly.
All of them girls must have got you gas.
And when they see a good thing, they don't triple bypass.
Well, for this town, that's right on track. Cause for me, your game's too whack.
You're the whacker to my weed.
Your game is whack.
I'm not trying to hear that, see?
Game is whack.
You're the whacker to my weed.
Your game is whack.
I'm not trying to hear that. What am I? Another pretty face getting you a drink from my military base? All I gotta know is why did you use me?
You talking? Psh, excuse me.
We can't have nothing.
You wear depends.
Well, if we ain't getting married, then we can't be friends.
Well, then I guess it's nothing.
Well, hey, I think you're puffing.
Well, pass that weed.
I won't weed whack nothing. You better catch a flashback. Remember, you ain't tapping it. You ain't my style, and I'm not having it.
All I remember from that late night kiss is I'm more the mister, you're more the miss.
Well, look, I treat you good.
Treat yourself better.
And I always call my mom.
Write her a love letter.
I greet you every day with a martini at the door.
You won't last a year, you're overgrown bed sore.
Well, I'm known in this town, and now that's a piss.
I got no one to blame but myself and Melissa.
You didn't answer me, Karen. Am I a good kisser?
Don't remember, had a lot of Hennessy.
A lot of girls out there that won't say no.
The ones you take to your crib with Berkey.
Boom, now all my feelings is getting fatter.
My name's Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtleboy.
He is a senior editor for Turtleboy Daily News.
I'm a big fan.
We've broken hundreds of stories that the mainstream media won't touch.
Some blogger in Massachusetts who's getting to the bottom of this better than anybody.
Why is it Turtleboy that is covering such important issues? Where is the rest of the media?
You did not say that you were gonna take my baby out of revenge and make him a transgender baby.
Stop it.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do. I know.
People don't like the things that I say and want me to stop saying them, but I won't. I'm never gonna stop. These are the kind of stories that must be told.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Noise. Go, baby, we bringing out toys. Boys, chop up the thing, it should be on the boards. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace, working, we serving the streets. About to go ape, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, boom.
You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me?
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go time.
Tick, tick, boom.
What's up, turtle people? How's everyone doing tonight? Good, good, excellent. Welcome to the live show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your fearless host. My name's Aidan Kearney. You can call me a variety of names if you'd like. You can call me A. Timothy Kearney. That's my true crime name. Journalism Jesus, if you prefer that. If you're the spiritual type, you can call me Uncle Turtleboy. Old school turtle writers call me that. You can call me what else can you call me? I don't know. You can call me other types of shit. You can call me Dr. Turtleboy is actually my preferred, because if Jud Welcher is a doctor, then I'm a doctor too. You can call me Daddy. I understand some people. I'm blurred. I'm saying. Oh, let me see. Everybody's saying I'm blurry. Am I just frozen? Why is it so blurry, dude? Oh, it seems perfectly okay. It's blurry. Everybody says I'm fine now. Let me refresh. Oh, let me see. I play a stroke. And the sound's wacky too? I don't know. I feel like I didn't screw this one up. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm like frozen on my computer. I'm buffering. Okay. I'm gonna edit this. Where'd it go? Are we back? Am I back? Hold on. I don't know what's going on here. StreamYard's acting all screwy. Let me refresh this, see what happens. It's still freaking blurry. Dude, what the fuck? You guys, can you guys hear me okay? I don't know. I don't know why it's so blurry. Like it looks fine on my end. When I'm like on StreamYard, it's nice and clear. So that means the camera's working well. I got decent lighting in here tonight. It's good. It finally is working now. But then I see the stream and it is a little bit blurry. I feel like I'm watching like 1984 television. Okay, I guess it's working. I guess it's okay. All right, it's getting better. All right, I think we're better now. I think we're good. That'll do. All right, cool. Anyway, we'll just go with it. So I call Daddy, like character call me. Just be here every Tuesday and Saturday night at 9 p.m. sharp, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. The subs are going way up these days. What are we up to for subs? We were at 128.1 last night. Now we're at 128.45. We're getting close to 130,000. We might be, man, 150 by the end of this trial. That's the goal. 150 by the end of this trial. We'll see. Anyway, so what else was I going to say? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's been an interesting day in court. We got a lot of shit to talk about. Before I do that, just want to remind everyone that if they want to have their messages read out loud to the class tonight, you got to click at the link at the top for Turtle Chat. When you do that, you can, pay whatever you want. And you can write a message. I'll get the message. read the message and then move to the next message. Turtle work. Or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtleboy, and we can do it that way. So let me see if we have any turtle chats yet. Today's what, the 28th? Okay. We got it here. Remember these. Margaret Blundo sends $10 and goes, I know that you have lead rescue. That you've led rescue in person. Thank you. You are strong. You are well. Thank you very much, Margaret. I appreciate the kind words. But we're not there yet. It's all if we don't get a not guilty. I'm not saying this is all for nothing, because no matter what happens, we gave it our best. Yeah, no matter what happens, but get down to audio sucks still. Saying motherfucker. Time out. What the fuck? How about this? Does this work? The audio and the video? Dude, I don't know what's going on. How about this? Does this work? Testing. It seems to be self-correcting. All right, it's working. All right, cool. Don't freak out. If shit is bad for like a minute, it's just let it work itself out. The mic's good. It's testing fine. The audio, the video working fine. I don't know. But yeah. All right, cool. Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate that. Okay. Aster and Fish sends $20 and goes, another fun day in the buffer zone. I visited for a waterfall. Surprised how much taller versus the video. Yeah, it's not a big place. Neither. The CF McCarthy's is like tiny. Angry Higgins would have only been about 10 feet from Dono when you point yellow and Charlie still has his air tapping cameras up. Yeah, because he can just do whatever he wants apparently. So thank you for that, Aster and Fish. What? Burrito side piece sends $5 and says, hey, Dr. Daddy, I heard you like Roadhead, but have you ever had both throat? So, okay. Sandra sends $25. He goes, fuck Welcher. So much, but I'll see spend so much time arguing with him. When Karen left the courthouse, she looked upset and did not want to comment. I didn't see when she left. I don't know how she felt when. I don't. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think it was Alessi's finest day. I think he'll have a better day tomorrow. Let's just put it that way. We're gonna watch some of it. Don't worry. Wait, it's unwatchable. If it might self-correct. Okay, I gotta hold on. Let's try it now. Let's try it now. See if it works. Am I frozen again? Looks like. All right. Hopefully it doesn't glitch again. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it works, dude. Anyway, is it better? Now I'm frozen. Somebody says I'm good. The boat throat. I read one X-rated turtle chat and all hell breaks loose. Okay. All right, cool. Let me just know. People will let me know if it's really bad. Anyway, all right, we're good now. Hopefully it stays this way. We'll see. But yeah, I didn't think it was Alessi's finest moment today, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. We'll get to that. Thank you. Just a boy mom, not a regular mom, though, sends $10, goes, Unc, did you see the court reporter today at the end of the day? So rude. I did. I sent you a screen recording in case you missed it. I did see that. Thank you very much. Michelle sends $25 and says, Doc, I just wanted to say I appreciate your dedication, integrity, honesty, sense of humor. I know it's been a rough road. Sending all the prayers and positive vibes to you and your kids. All my respect. Well, thank you very much for those very kind words, Michelle. Purchase $5 and goes all to the round. We are for sure. And we had Shannon. It was better that I waited till Ratchet Madness until this was over because Man Shannon's got to get added. We got to add some people to it. So thank you very much for that, Patricia. Lauren's $5 goes. Been a lot of text just up in the case. But have you seen or heard of any other messages such as Facebook, Snapchat? For example, Karen and Higgins could have had a Snapchat conversation going. Okay, which would explain why they never responded about John's death. I don't know anything about that. So thank you much, Laura. Next up. Lisa sends $20. I leave your works behind one afternoon and take kids for some ice cream after school. Thank you for all you do. I can't wait to get your updates from inside the courtroom next week. Thank you very much, Lisa. Vincent Gambini, Esquire. And yes, if you guys did not hear, I basically won the lottery. I was not chosen as one of the 10 spots. Is this really? It's fucking frozen again. I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to lose my fucking shit if this doesn't work. It seems to be. Bro. The internet's fine. Everybody's like, reboot your router. I guess I could. That's going to take like 10 minutes off the show. It seems to self-correct. Everyone's like, reset the modem. That's like a 10-minute. It's like 10 minutes off. So I think if it becomes completely unwatched, again, guys, you've been through this a couple times. It self-corrects. Whatever the fuck going on right now, it self-corrects. So I don't need a million people in the chat saying, oh shit, it's not working. Like, it's self-correcting because no. It seems it's bad again. Like it's bad again. What did I just fucking said? I literally just said you don't have to say every word goes thought does not have to be typed out. Okay? It self-corrects. You don't have to post in the chat. Okay, this guy banned. We're not dealing with it. Banned for life. Ban user. He's done. Anybody like that, they're banned. Okay, I have no fucking tolerance for this shit. I'm in a bad mood. All right, look it. It's the audio is apparently glitching tonight. It might happen again. You don't need to fucking type that out. If it goes on for a couple minutes, then we got a problem. But it appears to be self-corrected. And guess fucking what? It's just gonna keep fucking happening. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing. I'm not resetting my fucking router because that takes 10 or 15 minutes to get that all started. I'm not doing that. You're just going to sit there and wait for it to self-correct because you got nowhere else fucking better to be. That's it. Shut the fuck up about the glitches. It's just going to happen. Deal with it. Anyway, back to this. Vincent Gambini Esquire sends $5, goes, when it comes to the Higgins O'Keefe incident at the bar, did anyone ever question the band? It literally happened right in front of them. I don't know if they were still there at that point. I think they were packing shit up, but that's a good question. Thank you. Let me read some Cash Apps here. Okay. All right. Kelly sends $5 and says, I looked for you in court today. It was a mess. Free Karen Reed. Yeah, I was there until Basically the afternoon, because I just had to get back. But yeah, I didn't stay the whole day or anything like that. So thank you very much. And it was nice to see some people down there. I'll be back. I won't be there tomorrow. It's a half day, but I will be there on Friday. I'll be there on Friday. All right. So I will be there hopefully in the courtroom Friday. That's my plan. I came very close to getting in today. Apparently, check this out. So I didn't make the list for this week, and I didn't make one of the 3 alternates, but only 6 of the 10 people who made it showing. I mean, this is out. Tell me how this is. I'll show you who made it. Let's see. Public information. Randomized. Okay. Yeah. Like, so this week, the people who made it were DePetro. He shows up every day, unfortunately. Court TV, they show up. So that's 2. Boston.com, they show up every day. The Boston Globe does not show up. They take a spot and they show up. Dateline shows up every day. Grant just never shows up. WBZ shows up. The AP never shows up. WA shows up. And Nation never shows up. News Nation, AP, Grant, and Boston Globe just don't show up. In my opinion, they should be banned. Like, you should not be allowed to enter the list anymore. Just didn't show up. We put on it. That's shit. Then next 3 alternates, and that is Ted Daniel, who's going there no matter what. Canton TV, Matt Slide show, but Canton TV and Ted Daniel showed up. So that's 8. So 6 and 2 is 8 every day. There's 10 spots in the courtroom, which means there's 2 more. And, because Grant signs up every week and wins, he prevents other people from being one of the 3 alternates. So then it's a free for all, whoever shows up first. And the first 2 to show up today were me and Sue O'Connell. So it should have been us. But WHDH sent someone in Jonathan Hall's place, and basically they got to put their name in for him. And so he got to just go ahead. So I could have done that. I could have just sent a surrogate to do that. Anyway, so I didn't even know you could do that. So I didn't get in today. But next week I got in like 11-1. So like Fox News one week Inside Edition, and they never come. So I would have I'll be in every day next week if I want to. So, which I do. Anyway, they're still itching up the audio and the video stuff. Double check. I'm gonna see what it's like right now. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Is self-correcting? Got it. I don't know what else to do, guys. It's pretty bad. I get it. Should I reset? Do you guys think I should reset the router? Because I don't know. I'll do a little vote. I'm going to do a vote. I'm going to do a vote in the chat. Should I will respect the vote of the people. Should I reset my router? Okay, so that's a yes. All right. So I'm going to go reset my router. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Are we back? Are we back? Let's see. All right. Are we good? We there? Hopefully this doesn't work. Hopefully this works. All right. We're back. Is the stream good? Let's find out. I'm not freezing. All right. Hopefully it stays this way. Hopefully it stays this way. All right. So I was reading Cash Apps here. I want to get right into the testimony. Okay. Elizabeth sends 20 big ones and says, I'm new here and I adore you. You're hilarious. I thank you, Elizabeth. Welcome aboard, first of all, and I adore you too. Thank you very much. Callie sends $10 and goes, who's the biggest crybaby? Spanky or Judd? Oh, no question, Spanky. Nobody's a bigger crybaby than him. I mean, he's just more of an arrogant douchebag. We're going to get to my thoughts on Judd the Chud. Kelly sends $5. Oh, I already read hers. And she says, P.S. I definitely call you daddy. Well, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Let's see. Nick sent $15 and he had no comment. Thank you, Nick. And then let me just double check the turtle chats. Make sure I didn't miss anyone and we can just jump right in. A couple more to read here. $25 from Marcia says, I'm so damn proud of you. Oh, thank you. It's fearless and amazing. Well, I am, I fear some shit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not completely fearless, but I'm getting by with, because of all the support of you fine people. So thank you very much. Welcher's widespread load sends $10 and goes, now feels like a good time to remind people of this saying. I may not like what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not a credo a lot of people adhere to these days. Never stop being you. You crossed no lines. Some people are just pussies. Free Karen Reed and free Turtleboy. Thank you about the no crossing lines thing. Because that, again, I did a thing yesterday about that, about crossing lines. It's like, where are these lines? Who are these lines? And who's drawing them? And how arbitrary are they? It seems like the Constitution is the line, and I have not violated the Constitution at all. So there's that. Okay, thank you. My grandma can't wrestle, but you should see her box. Sends $10. Goes, when you have the time, you should watch the Boston Funny videos on TikTok. I think they have 5 videos out. They are pretty funny. Also, it's Whip It Out Wednesday. Whip your dick out. We all want to see it. Don't be shy. Okay, Grandma. A little frisky there, Grandma. But I'm going to keep it in my pants for now, simply because we just got monetized again, I think. And we don't want to fuck that up now, do we? Yeah, no thanks. This dog whisper says, no thanks. We're going to keep it PG here. PG. So, all right, cool. If anyone else wants their messages read, you can click at the link at the top for Turtle Chats, or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtleboy, and we can do it that way. All right, cool. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Because we got a lot to get through. This guy. It's a family show here. Exactly. Okay. Let me start with some timestamps here. My first one's at 53:30. What does he say here?
Both those areas of information. Do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty in whether the damage to the defendant's Lexus is consistent with a collision with Mr. John O'Keefe on January 29th, 2022 at around 12:32 a.m.?
So there's been 2 potential theories that I've seen on that issue. One is a glass was thrown at the rear of the vehicle and shattered it. The second one was an impact to the arm. What? If the impact is basically more than approximately 8 miles an hour, it will likely break the taillight lens.
Do you have an opinion?
If the impact, where is he getting this from? If the impact is, a taillight lens can only break if the impact is more than 8 miles an hour. That's madness. Madness. But again, I think we're underestimating ourselves. We all think this guy's an idiot, but he's also a problem. Let's keep it real here. Because again, this is an impartial jury, and they see this guy in a suit who says he's a doctor, and he's very confident in himself. He's very confident, and confidence goes a long way. And it's like all he has to do is just convince a couple of them that he's right. Like, he's so confident. Joe Paul was not confident at all. Like Joe Paul was great because Joe Paul was awkward and retarded, and we all loved Joe Paul because of that. Whereas this guy is a problem. I think it's like, I don't think he's gonna I think the ARCCA guys are just gonna blow this guy out of the water. But I'm telling you right now, we need more from Bobby Alessi tomorrow. Like, Alan Jackson destroyed Joseph Paul. He needs to destroy this guy. There's just too much back and forth, guys. There's too much about the methodology. There's too much about just this it's destroy this guy. Just fucking destroy him. I don't know. I think that it was not Bob Alessi's finest day today. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was not that. This is the most important witness for the Commonwealth. He has to be destroyed. Now, he has another day tomorrow, and I have the fullest confidence that he's going to destroy this guy tomorrow. But to me right now, I can't hear any more about methodology. I just can't. It's just not. We got to get to it about, like, dude, explain, like, remember Alan Jackson with Joe Paul last year, how he was just like, so let me get this straight. So you're saying that he put his arm up and it shattered it, caused these striations, and then he catapulted into the air, did a pirouette, and then landed and cracked his head over here. Yes, but I thought you said he hit the cement. We could have, and then blah, blah, blah. It's just like, it was fucking perfect. We need that from this guy. We haven't had anything like that yet, you know? And you're right. He is more difficult than expected. And I that's not to say the whole day was a failure. I thought Alessi had got a lot of good zingers in there, but you need to destroy this guy. I mean, he's up here saying ridiculous shit. You got to destroy this guy. You gotta. So, anyway, let's play some more. So this part right here, where he's like explaining the crash and how,
and whether based on the data and based on the physical damage and your testing, whether that is consistent with a collision or a impact with Mr. John O'Keefe.
It is consistent with a collision as long as it's greater than approximately 8 miles an hour.
Do you have an opinion whether it's consistent with an impact or collision with Mr. John O'Keefe on January 29, 2022 at around 12:32 a.m.?
With that caveat, yes.
he's just so arrogant. With that caveat, yes. Bootleg Alex Jones. With the caveat, yes. You know, don't, like, chill out, Judd. Okay. We all see, right? Like, this guy think like this. I'll show you the real Judd to Chud. This is real Judd. Okay. This is him. This is real Judd. Okay. That's him. Like this guy, this fucking guy. Come on. Anyway, he's just arrogant. And that's one thing I hope, is that he just made the jury think that he was just pompous and full of himself. But again, that could also come across as confident and sure of himself. And it's just, it can't be both. Like, the ARCCA guys are right. Clearly they're right. There's no doubt about it. Like, this guy is full of shit. This guy, Aperture, made $400,000 from the Commonwealth. Madness. And it's not like Hank Brennan went to Aperture and was like, hey guys, so I've been assigned this case and I'm looking to prosecute it fairly. And I want to get to the bottom of this. And I want to see whether or not John O'Keefe was hit by the defendant's Lexus. Because if he wasn't, then we should know that and we shouldn't go forward anymore with this. And so can you just let me know, what do you think happened here? Can you tell me, give me your honest assessment? No such conversation ever took place, but it did with ARCCA. That is what happened with ARCCA. The FBI, the DOJ hired them, and their job, they said, look, can you tell us whether or not the injuries to this man are consistent with the motor vehicle collision and whether or not the damage to the vehicle is consistent with a pedestrian strike. Right? That's it. You just tell us what you think. Whereas that's what happened with ARCCA. That's why they're better. That's why they're unbiased. Is that's how it was brought to them. And whereas this guy, it was not brought to him in this way. It was brought to him with confirmation bias and saying, so this guy got hit by a car. You need to explain how this guy got hit by a car. And here's all this irrelevant stuff like her interviews and her saying, I hit him, allegedly. And taillight found at the scene and DNA found on the taillight. None of that matters to the science and the physics because taillight can be planted. John's DNA could easily end up on taillight that is in his garage all the time. There's 1,000,001 explanations for all that. None of that matters. None of that matters. Right? So anyway, back to this. Where'd it go?
In your testing, did you consider, or do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty, whether Don O'Keefe's injuries on his arm, inevitably in the back of his head, are consistent with being struck by a Lexus identical to the defendant's Lexus on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
What's your opinion?
That it is. It is consistent with being struck by a Lexus and ultimately contacting a hard surface such as frozen ground.
So we can all laugh at that. We can all say that's fucking insane, but that's a problem. It is a problem if anyone on the jury believes that. And you don't know you heard from Ronnie the juror. You don't know what these people were fooled by Trooper fucking Paul. I think you're kidding yourself if you don't think this is a problem. It's a problem. It's not a problem that we can't overcome, but it's a problem. And listen to how confident he is saying it. Like he's saying that the injuries to John are consistent with the motor vehicle collision. The exact opposite, of course, of what the ARCCA guy said. They should debate. There should be a debate off in court. Like we should be able to watch these people debate instead of like he goes and then they go and then they get the last go. Like that's bullshit. Anyway, let's jump to the next thing. No broken bones. Let's see. 101.
Was loaded. Some at 15 miles an hour had no injuries. Some at 15 miles an hour had some fractures, depending on how exactly the foot was loaded.
Is it uncommon in sideswipe pedestrian accidents to see no lower body broken bone?
No, it's not uncommon.
Have you had cases that you've studied or been involved with where you've studied the effect of a sideswipe or a clipping impact where there's an absence of broken bones in the lower body extremities?
Yes.
I ask you to turn to slide 139, please.
Oh, sorry. I fixed those other two slides.
Okay. Could you share with the jury what this represents?
Sure. So this was a trial that I was involved with in downtown Los Angeles.
This is wild.
I've redacted the name at the top. This was an instance where we had, this is an image from the police report.
I can't believe this is allowed.
So AOI in this diagram stands for area of impact. That's where the pedestrian was when they got hit. AOR is area of rest. And you can see we have information on exactly how far the pedestrian was thrown. Then on the right-hand side, we have photographs showing the impact to the pedestrian. This was determined by experts on both sides of this case to be between a 25 to 35 mile an hour impact. And then what you see is a close-up on the bottom slide of where there was DNA transfers, hair and tissue samples on the vehicle from the individual that was hit by the vehicle.
Next slide, please. And what does this represent?
When they put this on the screen, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? How is this allowed? He's just showing a dead body of some guy from California in order to prove that, like, oh, in this case, this happens here. If this is the case, if he's allowed to do this, then the defense should be allowed to show 1 million pictures of people with dog bites, because you have no idea how many times I get an inbox with somebody saying, you got to see this link to this person with a dog bite. The guy who was the Bachelor recently, or was the Bachelorette? I don't know. One of them recently got bit by a dog, and it looks just like John O'Keefe's injuries, just like it. It's like if they're allowed to just go on and be like, look at it, here's a dead guy, and this guy had no broken bones below the knees. So every time you get hit, you don't get a broken bone, right? Sean from the Bachelor, that was who it was. Like, they should be allowed to show as many pictures of people with dog bites as possible. If he's allowed to show this shit. I mean, what the fuck was this? Seriously. Just all of a sudden, this came out of nowhere. Here's a dead fucking body, kids. What?
So this is the decedent in the case, the person that was hit. He was killed at the scene. What you see on the left-hand image, on the left-hand image is he had a massive laceration to his right forearm, but it didn't break his arm. There was no broken bones in his arm. On the right-hand side of this image, you see the autopsy report.
I mean, this is just apples and oranges. Is this the exact same scenario in which John O'Keefe was hit by a car? He appears to have landed on some sort of cement surface, not grass. There's just so many variables. The car was going faster, 25 to 35 miles an hour. The car is a lot more banged up, right? And you're just allowed to show this. This is complete apples to oranges. And he's just allowed to show it because the arm doesn't have any broken bones. See, this guy didn't have any broken bones in his arm. Can we see the rest of them? What?
What you'll notice is he had red marks on his leg, the buttocks, but he had no leg fractures. And again, this individual was hit at between 25 to 35 miles an hour.
Can you expand that? I'm sorry.
Yes, yes,
Do you want that expanded like 100 times?
There you go.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thank you. So at the top, he had a severe brain injury, which again is the most common injury in pedestrian.
Yeah, I didn't hear an objection.
He did have fractures of the right 11th and 12th rib and a liver laceration. If you look at the extremities, it says right upper extremity. Again, that's from the shoulder to the end of the hand. Extremity with vascular injury. So no fractures. If you look where I was talking about the multiple abrasions, so when they're looking at the lower extremities, they're noting a number of red marks, but there was notably no fractures to the lower extremities.
I mean, this is just, what the fuck does this prove? I mean, I get it. You're trying to prove that not every time your arm doesn't always have broken bones. So there's nothing shady about John's car having both. Was he hit exclusively in the arm? Was he hit? That's the whole point. Is they're alleging that John's arm took the brunt of the entire car crash. Like all of the force of the 6,000-pound car was on John's arm. Was that what happened to this poor guy who's being used?
You can take that down, please.
I don't know why he didn't object. I don't know how it works.
Dr. Welcher, regarding your analysis of the data and the evidence in this case, do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty?
Look how cocky
whether
he
the
is. Look at
absence
him.
of lower body breaks to Mr. O'Keefe is consistent with the defendant's Lexus impacting in a side swipe or a clipping Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes, you could definitely have this type of impact and not have anything beyond, say, red marks to the lower extremity.
Thank you, Dr. Welcher.
My
Your Honor,
pleasure.
I would move the evidence subject to redactions. Dr. Welcher.
Okay, so then Bobby Alessi gets up here and it starts off with a bang. Just watch this.
Good morning, Dr. Welcher.
Good morning. We haven't been formally introduced. Your whole name?
Robert Alessi, sir.
Robert Alessi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What the fuck was that? Immediately, this guy, the cockiness. Oh, we haven't been formally introduced. Bitch, you're the witness. Sit down and shut the fuck up. Speak when spoken to. Since when does the witness introduce themselves to the lawyer? Hey, we haven't been introduced. What the fuck is that? What was that? I mean, this guy just comes across. Oh, it's my fuck. It's the Jud Welcher show. I'm going to be, just arrogant, man, to do something like that. That kind of set the tone, didn't it? That set the tone right there.
Dr. Welcher, the area in which you engage can also include, and I believe you used the term on direct, forensics, correct? Do you engage in any forensic activity in your profession?
Yes, the general umbrella of you basically coming in and giving scientific evidence in court applies to forensics. So my main job is action reconstruction and biomechanics. And so that's what I do. Sometimes it doesn't involve court. when it goes to court, that's generally forensics.
Right. So you're here today. That is my question. You're here today, at least in part, with regard to forensics, correct? Because forensics is the Latin term for it is basically you're going to have some type of court or jury presentation. It's for law, correct? Would you agree with that? It's for law, forensics?
I mean, exactly the way you asked that. No, it's for engineering and it's for biomechanics. It's in the court of law, I think is what you're asking.
That's exactly. Yeah.
Okay, certainly for the court of law.
It ends up to a court of law, and forensics is a common term.
Yes, sir.
So it relates to or it's used in or it's suitable for a court of law, the analysis. You'd agree that that's a general principle?
Yes.
Not a trick question. Okay. And so in forensics, what you're doing, among other things, is you're applying the
okay, and then he gets into the scientific method for 9 minutes, and it just kind of bores me to sleep. So now we're going to skip to the part about confirmation bias, because this is important.
Cognitive biases are not just for one category. You would agree it applies to medical analyses, it applies to doctors doing studies, engineers doing studies, and other scientists doing studies.
So I'm not a cognitive expert. I think I would generally agree with it, but I don't want to step out of my lane. I'm not an expert on cognitive. I can talk to you about confirmational bias, if you like.
Let's talk about confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias is actually when someone selectively gathers and interprets evidence to confirm one or another's beliefs, as well as neglecting evidence that contradicts those beliefs. Is that a fair statement of confirmation bias?
That is a statement. Yeah, it could be broader, but sure.
But you would agree that that is generally correct, what
Generally,
confirmation bias is. And an example of confirmation bias is not considering alternative hypotheses once an initial hypothesis has been selected, even though data and information might contradict the initial hypothesis. Is that an example of confirmation bias?
That could be, yes.
And confirmation bias is antithetical. It's against the scientific method. It's to be avoided, correct?
You would like to avoid it, yes.
Are you familiar with the term failure analysis?
Generally, you might need to define how you're using it for me.
Sure. So is failure analysis the enablement of a scientific examination of an alleged incident by beginning at the undesired consequences? Is that a fair use of that phrase?
I was thinking something different, like a piece of metal failing. I guess it could fall into that category.
Okay. And would you agree that the first question, or one of the first questions that are to be asked by a biomechanical engineer when conducting an analysis of, say, an injury is, how did this happen? Is that one of the first few questions?
Listen to
that
this.
you
Watch
ask?
this.
No, that's usually the last question.
Oh, so
What?
for you,
So hold on a second.
Okay,
Generally, what you want
Oh,
to do
no, hold on a
is gather
second.
data. You want to know what injuries there are, what evidence there is, like, for example, on the vehicles. And then the very last thing you want to know or define is, given all that information, how did it happen? So that's the end.
I think you may have misunderstood my question. So I wasn't talking about the method or the process. I was talking about when you get to answering questions, whenever that is in the process. Isn't one of the questions, and maybe one of the first questions, how did this happen?
No, that's not one of the first questions.
Oh,
One
my
of the first
God.
questions is, where's the damage?
I mean, this is just semantics. It's like, yes, the overall question is, how did this happen? That's the main question you're trying to answer. And this guy's like, no, I do all this other stuff, and then we get to, you know what he means, dude. But this is just him. Exactly. He thinks he's an alpha. That's it. This guy's just like, no. I control this shit. I control this. Let me tell you how this actually works. But again, like, it's Alessi's got to control him. Like, you got to, like, he's letting this guy take over. You gotta, but he did reek of Buchanan, but I'm not sure he came across. I mean, he came across as douchey to me. You don't get more douchey than Bukkake. You don't. And I'm just not, I don't know. I don't think he came across as douchey to the jury as Bukkake, but then again, I wasn't in the room, so I don't know how the jury.
What are the injuries? What's the evidence?
Okay.
What black box or tech stream data do we
All right.
have?
Then we get to the part where he's like, how much Aperture paid to retain him. All right.
Yet your firm and you were retained for this case by the Commonwealth 2.5 years after the incident in question. You were retained, your firm, on September 23rd, 2024. Is that correct, sir?
No, I believe we were retained a couple days before that.
A couple days.
Oh my God,
So-
this guy.
Actually, I might be able to find out if you'd like me to look
It's,
at the
it's
documents.
not all
No.
that important. You would say it's within a week of September 23rd, 2000. It was
Look at
in
him on his
September
computer.
2024.
Look at him on his
I believe it was in
computer.
September, yes.
Right,
I would
so-
want
He was constantly doing this. Constantly on his fucking computer. How do we know he's not Googling shit? You know, like, this is so this guy just gets to go on his computer during his freaking voir dire. I mean, not voir dire, during his cross-examination. Oh. So this is a good point. Okay. And I don't know if it was hammered home enough. It's like, so they hired you 2.5 years after John O'Keefe was killed. Why? Why'd they wait? If you're so important, if you're so vital to this case, why didn't they hire you a long time ago? Why did we do the first trial with Trooper Paul? Why did we do that? Where were you? Like, is John O'Keefe not worth the investment? Why? Why suddenly are you around? Oh, right. Because I mean, you're literally a hired gun. You're a paid gun. That's it. You're a whore. He's a whore who will say whatever Spanky pays him to say. Because Aperture has made almost $500,000 off of the Commonwealth for their work. And remember, same people crying about $23,000 to ARCCA are like, yeah, $400,000, whatever.
Double check.
That's 2.5 years from the date of the incident in question, if I did the math right, correct?
No, I never thought about it.
Oh, I never thought about it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, approximately.
And as we just discussed, you stated on your direct examination, you have no dog in this fight, correct?
Correct.
On November 5th,
Oh, I'd say you got a lot of dogs.
Your firm Aperture was paid $44,500 by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to conduct work that was at least similar to the work of Trooper Paul, correct?
I have no idea. I don't get the billing or the statements.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. He knows exactly how much they've been paid.
Do you recall whether Aperture has, do you believe Aperture is working for free in this matter?
Oh, no, I don't believe that. No,
So
we're an engineering company. We bill for our time.
So you know that Aperture is getting paid for its work in this case, correct?
We are billing for our analysis work.
Well, you're not just billing, you're billing and getting paid, correct?
So I have not seen any of the payments. I would assume that we're getting paid, but I don't know that.
Sir, you are a senior vice president of Aperture, are you not?
I am.
You would know, wouldn't you, if your firm was not getting paid for work since September 23rd of 2024, wouldn't you?
No, probably not. Usually it takes, 9, 10, 12 months of not getting paid before the accounting department reaches out to me.
Exactly. So you've been on this for 2.5 years. So if it would take 9 months or 12 months, if you weren't getting paid.
See, that was a slip of the tongue. And of course, Judd just jumps all over that.
You would have been notified by that by now, correct? According to your own answer you just gave.
I've not been on this case for 2.5 years.
I'm sorry, sir. Let me go back to the question of payment.
Hold on. You said I've been on this case for 2.5 years.
Yeah, there was a slip of the tongue. He knows that you haven't been on the case for 2.5 years, but he wants to be like, oh, actually, you're fucking wrong. Again, why? Like, Bobby Alessi let this guy control the courtroom early on. Like, that's the vibe I got from this. Is like, this is Judd's courtroom. Like, he should have shut that shit down immediately when he's like, hey, what's your name? Motherfucker, I will ask the questions and you will sit there and fucking answer them. I don't know. I hope he's a really nice guy, Bobby Scissorhands. But really nice guys get run over by people like this. You got to shut that shit down. Shut that shit. Even though he comes across as cocky and douchey to the jury, you got to shut that shit down.
Retained in September 17th ish of 2024. So that's less than a year ago.
Understood. I'm moving on to the next question because I want to move away from that discussion and just go right to Bill. You, as you sit here today, do not have a recollection of whether Aperture has been paid. Is that your testimony?
It has nothing to do with recollection. I'm not part of that process. We have an accounting department. I don't have any involvement in that.
So is your testimony you have no knowledge about any contractual relationship between Aperture and the
Right.
Commonwealth?
Oh, no. I was sent a contract by the Commonwealth to sign, so I'm aware of the contractual agreement, but the day-to-day or month-to-month invoicing and billing, I'm not involved in that.
Okay. So you're aware there's a contract between Aperture and the Commonwealth.
I signed it.
And you signed it. And was it that contract obligating the Commonwealth to pay for the services of Aperture? Isn't that the purpose of the contract, in part?
In part, sure.
Yeah, it's a legal obligation of the Commonwealth. Your firm does work, and the Commonwealth pays for it, correct?
That's the idea.
Right. And so you know about that contract because you signed it.
Correct.
Also, you testified on direct that there was a purchase of a Lexus exemplar for your testimony.
Here we go.
Who pays for that Lexus exemplar?
The taxpayers.
And is that then cost passed on to the Commonwealth?
No.
So you pay for the Lexus. You don't pass that cost on, correct?
So what we're doing is we pay for the Lexus. We're keeping it till the trial's over.
Here we
We're
go.
selling it and charging the Commonwealth the difference in the price.
Exactly.
Wait, they're selling. Listen to what, so this is the tax, because the taxpayers paid for this fucking Lexus. So, like I said yesterday, either they should raffle it off and one person gets the Lexus, one lucky taxpayer, or everybody gets to take it for a spin. I will settle for that. And this is insane.
The Lexus, you don't pass that.
Listen to what he's doing.
Correct?
So what we're doing is we paid the Lexus. We're keeping it till the trial's over. We're selling it and charging the Commonwealth the difference in the price.
We're selling it and charging the Commonwealth the difference in the price. But watch this. Listen to what he says here.
That was where I was going, sir. So,
but they're only paying the difference. So, and in theory, if we sell it for more in California, then we'll reduce the bill.
Okay, I don't want to speculate.
Why the fuck would it sell for more in California? You painted it blue, dude, and you ran yourself over with it. Like the car immediately lost like $5,000 value just from your stupid experiment. And he's like, oh, actually, we're making the taxpayers money. What? Okay.
Speculate. I just wanted to see what the obligation was. So
the obligation is the difference.
Exactly. So the obligation is the difference. Are you aware that on April 5th, 2025, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office amended your contract? In 6 months worth of work?
That's not what I said.
Well, no, my question
Look
is
at
on
him.
the
Look at
case, you said since September of 2024, when we were talking about dates, you said that was about 6 months that your firm's been retained. Did I have your answer correct about how long you've been on it?
I guess it's closer to 8 months.
All right, so 8 months. So for 8 months of work, about $400,000. Is that correct?
So there's 3 offices working on the case. There's the Boston office, there's Mr. Burgess's office, and there's my office in Long Beach. I only know about the billing from my office.
But you signed the contract on behalf of all of ARCCA, not just your office, correct?
That I don't know, but I definitely did sign the contract.
Would it refresh your recollection as to who you signed the contract on behalf of, whether it's all of ARCCA in all offices, if I showed you the contract?
Sure.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So basically, they get a whole shitload of money, and we get that out of them. All right, now we're going to move on to the updated presentation.
So in terms of taking out slides, I did add one alternative path a couple weeks ago.
Okay, my question, sir, is this. The updated presentation, we'll get to the changes later, but the updated presentation, you created just how many days ago?
I'm going to say weeks ago.
Weeks, 2 weeks?
I don't actually know without looking at the documents.
Well, was it more than 3 weeks ago that you created it?
I still don't know without looking at the documents.
Do you know when the trial started in this matter, sir?
I do not.
Assume the trial started approximately April 22nd of 2024.
Okay.
Did you create your updated presentation before or after April 22nd of 2024?
I don't know.
You know. It was after.
Do you know?
Look at him on the computer.
Dr. Welcher, I'd ask that you not do
Not looking. Okay, I was going to try and answer his question. My apologies. I will shut it down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I may, Your Honor, please say it.
He doesn't shut it down, though.
Are you able to determine when you created the updated presentation?
I think so. That's what I was attempting
Your
to
Honor, may he do that?
Yes, I'm going to see counsel at sidebar while you pull that up, please.
Wait, I see sorry, I was just reading the comments. The buffer zone was released. What was the ruling? What was the ruling? Let's see. Please tell. You can't just say something like that. Hold on. I got to see this. Let's check Rendaz's thing. Is that true? Maybe I should. No, I don't see anything from Rendaza. Does anyone know anything about that? This is something I'm really concerned with. The buffer zone. Let me search buffer zone on Twitter. Buffer zone. Breaking. Buffer zone stands. Oh, I like this. Okay, but enforcement must change. Oh, hold on. J.M. Lawrence from the Globe does great work. Okay. Buffer zone. This is important. I got to read this. The buffer zone stands, but enforcement must change. Court rules. Link to 20-page ruling below. U.S. District Court Judge June has enjoined the state police from further violating the First Amendment rights of citizens in Norfolk Superior Court's Kearney trial buffer zone. The buffer zone orders as applied, deprived the protesters of their right to conduct constitutionally protected speech activities. Wow. Prior to enforcement, law enforcement officers must be able to clearly articulate without speculation how any individual violated the buffer zone orders. A woman's sweatshirt with the words criminals control Norfolk County did not violate the state judge's buffer zone order. Congratulations, ARCCA Walsh. You are the new Rosa Parks. ARCCA Parks Walsh just did that. She got arrested for wearing a sweatshirt that she knew she was allowed to wear. The state police arrested her, violated her constitutional rights, and now a federal judge has ruled that does not violate the state judge's buffer zone order. So, Hardo should get sued. He has protective immunity, which is the problem with police, is they have this immunity. So if they do something wrong, they're not held personally responsible for it. So I hope she sues fucking Norfolk County then. And I hope they pay, because a federal judge has just ruled that Hardo needs to calm the fuck down. That he is not above the Constitution, and that he is not enforcing the order as it is written. So congratulations to ARCCA Walsh. That is a huge, huge win. Oh, wait. But somebody goes, read the next line. But, shit. The judge ruled her hat with the letters FKR was designed to influence jurors and is prohibited in the zone. But that's not what she was arrested for. In the arrest report, it doesn't even mention that that's the issue. And I'm sorry, that's bullshit. FKR can mean anything you want it to mean. That's 3. What if those are your fucking initials? Fine, we'll do RFK. We'll do that instead. There we go. Taken together, the plaintiffs have shown a likelihood of success on their claim that the buffer zone orders as applied deprive the protesters of their right to conduct constitutionally protected speech activities. Judge June did not take issue with the Commonwealth's power to create the buffer zone. The zone itself is not the problem. Enforcement is, he said. I agree with that. I get it. I get why they need a buffer zone. If there was a bunch of people standing outside the courthouse chanting "Free Karen Reed" at the top of their lungs, and it interfered with the court. We all hear the sirens in the courthouse. If you had a bunch of people outside yelling "Free Karen Reed," that would disrupt the trial. I can see that. No doubt about it. And that would be unfair to Karen Reed. It would be unfair to everyone. I completely agree with that. That's not what's happening. It's not what happened. It is not what's happening. What's happening outside the court, it's a social event. That's all this is. It's a bunch of people just hanging out with lawn chairs, watching the trial. They just want to be close to the action. Like, that's all it is. They just want to, like, the highlight of the day is when Karen Reed arrives and when Karen Reed leaves and when Turtleboy shows up. Like, no, that's it. That's it. That's what people are there for. And they made it seem Ryan Piotrowski, that lying piece of shit foreman from the last trial, lied. He lied in his affidavit, and he said he could hear protesters during the deliberations. That was an outright lie that was used to expand the buffer zone. Just this complete, oh, there she is. You're a hero. You're a civil rights icon, ARCCA. They ruled that the state police violated your civil rights in arresting you. So anyway, yeah, they can't hear shit. Exactly. So it goes on. Let's see. I just want to read the rest of this. It says here, although the buffer zone orders are clear, the record shows a persistent pattern of arrests or threats of arrests to protesters and non-protesters alike who are complying with the orders. The buffer zone is not a people-free zone. I love it. Named plaintiffs in the lawsuit who were engaged in news gathering and creating videos were not in violation of the order. In addition, the judge rejected the Commonwealth's contention that Jason Grant's claim is now moot because he was allowed to carry in the zone a sign with a biblical quote about freedom. Contention. He rejected the Commonwealth's contention. I liked rejected Commonwealth's contention. So yeah, I mean, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, that's great news. That's great. I mean, the whole decision is here, I'm told. I'll have to go and read that whole thing later, but that's great news. That's great news. So anyway, congratulations. That's awesome. Thank you to Mark Randazza. That's awesome. Awesome. I think that's a great ruling. Finally, a win for the good guys. It's not really shove it up your ass, Bev, because it's shove it up your ass, Hardo. They're not saying that Bev's order is unconstitutional. They're saying that the state police's enforcement of it is. So there you go. Anyway, back to this. Okay, so what part were we on here? The billing statements, 144. Okay. All right, okay. So him updating his presentation. We played some of that. Let me jump to changes. Okay. This is the part that I thought was comical, like ridiculous, really.
Because they were saying I didn't provide everything, and I have provided everything.
All right. So
that was the second half.
Yeah, I want to go to the first half, sir.
Sure.
And I'm going to try to shortcut this. If I'm not clear, you just let me know. I want to talk about the first half. You called it, I didn't hear it. It was like, did you say path? P-A-T-H?
Correct. The path Miss Reed was driving.
Right. What you made the change for May 13th, that first half, that wasn't something that was triggered by the defense. That was something irrespective of the defense, correct?
It was based upon her statements. Is she part of the defense?
All right. So that's what I wanted to get to. You changed the first half based upon statements you allege that Ms. Reed made. Is that correct?
I changed one slide. There was 130 slides originally, or something like that. So half of the changes on that day, which was one slide, I added one line to the bottom of the previous slide.
Statements that Karen Reed made should not affect any report that finds its basis in science. That's absurd. Like, that's just insane. That, oh, she said this on Dateline. How does this affect your scientific analysis? The correct answer is it doesn't. It means nothing Karen Reed says matters to the science. And I cannot believe that people think that it actually does. Like, this is how retarded our society is. Like, this is just insane. But he's so cocky.
You consider that change significant?
No.
Well, then why did you make it in the middle of trial if it wasn't significant? Why didn't you just leave it off and then discuss it in terms of testimony?
So A, it ultimately was left off. B, because it was insignificant and I didn't need to have it. So the way it got presented was exactly the way it was before May 13th. So it didn't change anything.
But it was significant enough for you to make a change to your presentation, correct?
So my goal is to be as accurate as possible. So when I saw the path that I gave, the way she could drive, I gave the possible paths. That was one of the possible paths that hadn't originally been included. So in striving to be as accurate as possible, including as much information as I could, I wanted to make sure I included that.
So you were striving. The clip that you used to make the change, you say you made the change based upon a clip you observed with regard to Ms. Reed. Is that correct?
I believe that. Yes, that is correct.
Do you know that clip has been in existence for months?
I don't believe I got it until April.
Who sent it to you?
So a clip that has assume the clip's been in existence for months. You just got the clip.
Dr. Welcher, I have to ask you not
sorry.
to.
I'm trying to be helpful.
Close your computer.
Let me close it. Sorry.
Close your computer. Like, what was he looking up there? It's just so fucking shady. This guy is allegedly testified at over 200 trials. He doesn't know you can't just go on the fucking internet and browse the internet during your.
I'm going to ask you to close the top.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah. Probably good.
So assume the clip that you said was the basis for changing your PowerPoint on May 13th after the trial started had been in existence for months. You just got that clip, you say, in April?
I believe so, yes.
What was tell me the circumstances by which you got the clip. Did you ask for it?
I was told there was a new interview.
Okay. Who initiated the conversation about the new interview?
I don't know if it was Mr. Brandon.
Yeah, it was
someone associated with prosecution.
Yes, I wouldn't have known about it.
Exactly. So somebody affirmatively communicated.
Of course it was Hank Brennan. Who else is obsessed with Karen Reed's interviews more than Spanky? Spanky's like, ooh, new interview, new clip I can send to Judd. Ooh, I got to send this over to Judd the Chud. What do you think of this, Judd? Can you put this in your PowerPoint? Can you factor this in? Ooh, absolutely. New slide. Update that one. Yeah. Science.
With you. When about this clip?
I need to look, but I remember it being about mid-April.
Mid-April.
If I'm thinking of the correct clip.
What were you asked to do if anything, with regard to that clip?
When I got the clip, I wasn't asked to do anything.
What did you do with the clip once you got it?
So they then indicated there was this suggestion of an alternative route. So then I looked at the alternative route description and added the alternative route.
So it was suggested to you by the prosecution that you look at the clip and they pointed out that there was an alternative route they wanted you to look at?
So I took it to be, we have additional evidence. Please look at the additional evidence and add it to your analysis.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. So anyway, so that's that point. So he admits that like Hank is sending him shit and it's affecting his presentation. And now he talks about man Shannon.
On the topic of additional analysis by ARCCA, while this trial is going on, are you aware of Mr. Burgess submitting a report dated May 8th of 2025 in this case?
Yes, I received that report on May 8th.
Right. And so you were aware of the creation of that report on May 8th because you got a copy of it, right?
Correct.
Were you aware that Mr. Burgess was intending to submit that May 8th report to the Commonwealth?
Yes, we had a discussion before that he had found new information that changed the timing.
He had found new information that changed the timing. He had found it. He just found it. He was just looking around. He's like, oh shit, new information. Oh fuck. It's actually, I'm 20 seconds off. What is the new information? What did you find? Oh, right. You found Ian Whiffin's testimony and it didn't align with yours. That's what he found. AKA he violated the sequestration order.
Oh, he had found new information. What is your basis for saying he found new information as opposed to the information always existed? It's just it was pointed out to him that should be looked at. What's the basis of your understanding that he found new information? Yes.
I'm going to allow the question, but you have to ask it differently.
I will, Your Honor. Thank you. What is the basis for the statement you made that Mr. Burgess found new information?
I guess it was his meeting in our discussions. He indicated that he had found new information.
Did you ask him, what do you mean by new?
No, I took it at what he said.
So do you, as you sit here today, have any basis to say that information is new as opposed to it's always been in existence?
Yes.
What is that?
What he told me.
Oh, so you relied upon the representation of Mr. Burgess. You didn't have any independent document to determine whether, in fact, it was new.
I don't quite frankly care whether it's new or not. I just care what's in the data.
Just look at his attitude. This is like basic white girl attitude. Huh? Like, what? Are you fucking stupid? Like the way he talks to us, like, are you fucking retarded? Huh? And look at this guy. Look at this. I mean, so the way this is the face you make when you're like, are you fucking stupid? Like a teenager, like a disrespectful teenager who thinks they're smarter than their fucking parents. This guy's just a fucking douchebag.
Whether it's new, old, I don't care. It's not relevant to what I'm doing. I don't say this is new data, this is old data. I just care what the data is.
Right.
Sir, has ARCCA ever submitted a change report in the middle of a trial to your knowledge?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Do you know whether ARCCA has ever submitted an amended report in the middle of a trial? You say you testified in federal and state courts. Can you recall one instance where ARCCA has submitted an amended report?
Yes or no?
So ARCCA is like 290.
Yes or
I can
no?
only speak for myself. I have certainly done amended analysis.
There you go. So
only certain courts and certain legal systems require reports. But for example, rebuttal, analyzing testimony that comes up in court, getting trial transcripts. I very frequently have come up with new analysis during the trial.
Sir, my question is, as you sit here now, can you state one court case where you or ARCCA has submitted an amended report in the middle of a trial?
Yes or no?
I cannot speak for ARCCA. I can only speak for myself.
Yes or no?
Speak for yourself. So can you then for yourself recall any instance where you submitted an amended report in the middle of a trial?
Amended
yes
reports,
or no?
Amended analysis, yes.
Thank you.
It's just like this fucking guy. Answer the fucking question. Answer the fucking question.
You're welcome.
Mr. Alessi, is this a good time for a break or 5
All
minutes?
It's a good time, Ron.
Okay. All right. So then I'm going to jump to the 2:30 mark. Okay. And what do we have here? I have their emails he's been getting. Hold on.
Any activity in this trial of any kind before you testified yesterday?
Again, as I mentioned, I've been getting random emails, and then I've been seeing it pop up on my news feeds as well. But once I was aware of the reclusion, I made sure to not review that. But as recently as last night, I got an email that said biomechanical engineering job, or like applying for a job. And I opened it up, and it was some internet troll.
Sure. I'm asking about emails from the prosecution.
Oh, no, there's been no emails about what's been going on. I mean, there's been scheduling, when am I going to come, things like that.
How then was it determined that you were going to be able to amend your power presentation if you weren't communicating with the prosecution?
I mean, they asked me about the witness statement of 138 right around May 13th.
How did they ask you about that, sir?
Okay, so I want to make it very clear. Do not email anyone associated. Just watch the fucking trial. I don't know why everyone needs to email. And whatever you do, don't CC me on your emails to Jud Welcher, because this did happen. I got CC'd on a fucking email for some reason to Jud Welcher. You got to see this. All right. Bernadette. I think this is what he's talking about. Again, you do shit like this, you make it harder for Karen fucking Reed. I get emailed. Okay. And she copies me, Michael Morrissey, Beverly Canoni. Don't email the fucking judge and a fucking witness, Bernadette. Jesus Christ. Just watch the fucking trial like a normal person. You don't need to get involved. You don't need to email a fucking witness in the middle of their testimony. What the fuck is wrong with you? And why are you like CCing me on it? Like I'm going to be fucking impressed by this? Like, oh yeah, give him hell, Bernadette. What the like this? I'm sharing this now to shame this woman as an example of what not to do. Don't email fucking witnesses. And you're not impressing me by doing this. So don't fucking CC me on it. I don't need to see this shit. So this is what he's talking about, right? I would never email a fucking witness during a trial. This letter is to formally express deep concern regarding your involvement in testimony in the Karen Reed case. Oh, wow. If you're deep concern. Well, available evidence, including video footage and credible witness testimony, indicates the taillight was initially only cracked or specific. Dude, who does this? You care way too much about this if you're doing shit like this. Don't do this. It is evident to many observing this trial that your conclusions were not independently formed, but instead served to reinforce a predetermined prosecutorial strategy. Again, this is true, but you don't need to fucking... And then she ends it with, you are all going to jail for collusion and criminal acts. No, they're not. This guy's not going to fucking jail. Bernadette, you sound fucking crazy. Stop emailing me. Stop CCing me on shit. You need to be told this. You're a fucking crazy person who needs to just act normal, okay? This is fucking crazy shit. This is like what the other side does. Turtleboy expose or whoever. You know? You and the prosecution have yet to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you have remotely a shred of a believable story, and all the Commonwealth witnesses are full of shit. The public is watching. I mean, Jesus Christ, Bernadette. What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you, Bernadette Bohan? Oh, God. Anyway, so that's what he's talking about there. This is the shit I got to deal with. And it just gives this guy a chance to be like, oh, I'm getting harassed. Like, that's all you're doing. You hurt Karen Reed's case with your fucking self-serving bullshit. You had to get involved, right? You had to fucking get involved. What did you accomplish? Is this guy changing his testimony? No. Well, first of all, that would be witness intimidation if that was your goal. Okay? Just let him fucking say what he's going to say. Period. Period. You don't need to fucking lecture him about it. And it's like this guy's going to be like, oh shit, Bernadette sent me a fucking email. I'm going to jail. Better come clean. What? All you're doing is giving him fuel to get up there and being like, I'm getting harassed. Cut the shit. This is why buffer zones exist. Because you're fucking people like you.
I don't recall if it was a Zoom meeting, a phone call.
So there was a communication with the prosecution. Might have been by Zoom, might have been by another method. But there were communications of this trial is going on, relative to you amending your PowerPoint that ended up with an amended PowerPoint on May 13th. Do I have that correct?
I believe so.
I'm going to switch topics.
Okay.
One of the goals of Aperture's analysis and reconstruction was to determine the location and timing of certain text streams.
I thought this was interesting.
EDR data.
I'm sorry, my role.
Your role, yes. EDR, and just for
I know,
clarification,
exactly.
EDR
That's
is
the
event
problem.
Data recorder, correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to refer to that, as you have before, as EDR, event data recorder.
Sounds good.
EDR data does not show the location associated with a tech stream event, correct?
In this particular vehicle, it does not.
And the EDR data for this particular vehicle, namely the Lexus SUV, also does not provide the time associated with a tech stream event, correct?
Not at the time of this event.
So the answer is no, correct?
That is not correct.
So let me ask the question slightly different way. The EDR data does not provide the time. The EDR data for the Lexus SUV that you've been talking about does not provide the time associated with a tech stream event, correct?
That is correct.
Instead, every tech stream event is associated with a particular key cycle.
Yeah. So, okay. So we learned this at the last trial. They give us these key cycles and we're supposed to guess what the time is. We were told in this trial that the new EDR data was going to show that, oh yeah, it happened at this time at this place. That is not the case. He says so right here. He's like, no, that's not what it shows.
On the vehicle, right?
Correct.
Correct.
There can be multiple tech stream events in a single key cycle, right?
Correct.
And every time you start the car, this one you push the button, that's a new key cycle, right?
That will cause a key cycle.
And the EDR data indicates the number of seconds into the key cycle that the particular event occurred, correct?
The EDR data, no.
So EDR data gives you no information about the number of seconds into the key cycle that a particular event occurred.
You're confusing EDR data and tech stream.
I'm not, sir, I'm just
Are you
asking
not?
a question.
So
if it's yes or no, I'm fine with that.
EDR data will, depending on the vehicle, sometimes it has information about GPS date and time. Sometimes it has ignition cycles, which are a little bit different than key cycles, which is why you frequently have different ignition cycles versus key cycles in EDRs compared to tech stream.
So let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
The tech stream data indicates the number of seconds into the key cycle that a particular event occurs.
Yes,
is that correct?
That's correct.
In order to properly determine the location and the timing of a tech stream event, it's important that you correctly identify the trip that is associated with a particular key cycle, correct?
I think I'm going to say yes, that tech stream tells you the trip.
I'm just asking if it's important that you correctly identify the trip associated with a particular key cycle and do so by determining, in order to properly determine the location and timing of a tech stream event.
So the tech stream tells you the trigger event and it tells you the key cycle. So I'm not determining that. I'm reading that from the tech stream data.
Okay. So in order to properly read, to use your verb, the location and timing of a tech stream event, it's important that you correctly identify the trip that is associated with a particular key cycle. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's a fair statement.
If you associate the wrong trip with the wrong key cycle, then your estimate of when the tech stream event occurred will be wrong.
Yes, this is good. I like
it can. I mean, you need to take the totality of the evidence in the tech stream with the mileage, the overall timing into account.
So are you saying, sir, that if you have the wrong trip with the wrong key cycle, you can get the correct tech stream event?
No, not necessarily. Again, you have to take the totality of the data.
What?
My question is with regard to if you have the wrong trip with the wrong key cycle, then your estimate of when the tech stream event occurred will also be wrong. Isn't that just a matter of logic, sir?
Just say yes. Just say
the tech stream
yes.
event tells you the trip and it tells you the time. If you're saying I'm associating that with the wrong infotainment information or vice versa, then that would be wrong. But the tech stream data tells you how much time is associated with each trip. There's no difference there.
If you associate the wrong trip with the wrong key cycle, then your estimate of where the tech stream event occurred will be wrong. Is that correct?
Right.
You can't associate the wrong event with the wrong key cycle.
What?
Because it keys in the key cycle with the event.
Now, I mean, just
let me try.
Guys, this is again, and you got to control your courtroom. This is confusing as shit. And if you're the jurors, I don't know. I don't get the point he's trying to make here. I'm lost already. And if I'm sitting on this jury and I'm lost, that's not good. You need to fucking destroy this guy. It needs to be simple. And he's letting this guy fuck with him. You gotta, I don't know. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's being sly. But
a different way. Your analysis or anyone's analysis in conclusions regarding the timing and the location of the tech stream data are only as good as your ability to correctly associate a key cycle with a particular event. Is that an accurate statement?
No. Again, you need to take the totality of the data. So that is one element. You need to look, for example, at the mileage. You need to look at the timing of the events. So this is considered a tool in the analysis process. You need to look at the totality of data to see how it matches up with the physical evidence.
So are you saying that you can have an incorrect key cycle with a particular trip, but you can still get accurate timing and location of text.
Yes.
Again, you don't get incorrect key cycle.
Look at him
the trip and
smiling.
Key cycle are coded in by the text.
Look at him like laughing, and he just you're so stupid. Shut up.
If you are attributing an event to the wrong trip, which has a fixed key cycle.
I mean, this is where Alan Jackson would say, "I'm sorry, sir. Is something funny? Were you telling a joke there, sir? Is this funny to you? Cut the shit. You got to smack this little boy around. Enough of this shit." Bobby Alessi, come on.
Problem.
Exactly. So if we could go, if Your Honor, if we could publish a slide, please, that is in evidence.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are we looking at?
Pardon
What
me?
slide number?
I've got slide 9.
All right.
Mr. Wolf, yes, I've got the correct one. Thank you, Your Honor. So I'm going to use the acronym on September 23rd of 2024 of the vehicle control history, including key cycle 1167.
Correct.
And in this screenshot, we can see 4 text stream events.
Actually, can you zoom in on the key cycle?
Oh, sure.
To answer your question, I got it at 12.
That are associated with key cycle 1167, correct?
Correct.
But isn't it true, Dr. Welcher, that there were actually 10 text stream events associated with just that one key cycle 1167?
Correct. I gave you the original files.
Right.
So I forget all the key cycle stuff. Remind me again, people. And you guys can help me walk through this in the chat. So what did Trooper Paul say was the event where Karen ran John O'Keefe over? Was that 1164, he said? Is that right? Is that the one where 24 miles an hour in reverse and 62 feet? Do I have that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he say it was 1164? 1162. That's what Trooper Paul said. Okay. And the trigger for the 1164 to 67 was his testing. Okay, cool. And I think we determined, based on just a review of every time that the car was started, that didn't we determine that 1162 would have been back in Dayton? Is that right? I forget all the key cycles. Sure. Did we determine that they needed that 1162 was actually back? Because 1162 is the 24 miles an hour in reverse for 62 feet, whatever. And I think we did the math. A bunch of internet sleuths did the math, and that we determined that 1162 was Dayton, correct? Do I have that right? Which means that Fairview Road would have been what, 1160, something like that. 1162 was fighting. 1159 was Fairview, right? Okay, right. Okay, so I have that right. It was a little bit. The key cycle shit confused me a little bit. So anyway, back to this.
So you are aware that the Commonwealth had maintained up into your firm's engagement that.
Are you saying there's no basis for the question? All right, I'm going to allow the question and I'll hear it.
You are aware that the Commonwealth has maintained up until your engagement in September of 2024 that all text stream events associated with key cycles 1164, 1165, and 1167 occurred while the Lexus was in the custody of the Massachusetts State Police at the Canton Police Department.
So the objection sustained. You need a foundation, Mr. Alessi.
Sir, as part of your work in your review of the many documents that you referenced on your direct examination, did you review the text stream events associated with a Lexus SUV?
I reviewed the one I downloaded.
Pardon me?
I reviewed the one I downloaded.
Right. And did that, what you download, include key cycles 1164? Did it include that?
It did.
Did it include 1165?
It did.
And did it include 1167?
It did. It did not include 1166.
I didn't mention 1166, sir. I only mentioned 1164, 1165, and 1167. I purposefully skipped because I didn't understand you had reviewed it. So here's my question. You therefore, based upon the fact that you reviewed them, and you said it's important to understand timing, etc. That's very important in your forensic analysis, correct?
Yes, sir.
So let's go to the timing question and you understand where the Lexus has been at various points in time. You testified to that in direct, whether it was at the Canton Police Department, whether it was being towed, correct?
In addition to having Mr. Burgess' analysis of the data.
In addition to Mr. Burgess' analysis, so in that analysis contained locations of where the Lexus had been.
it contained where it had been and also include date and time, when it was turned on, when it was turned off.
Exactly.
Okay, so we get the point there. All right, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here. All right, what's this part? I don't have timestamps from this point on, so bear with me.
Of the SUV.
So
Through the course of the Commonwealth's in your investigation into this case, that the theorized time of the alleged contact of the SUV.
What?
So just 2 words, just strike theorized.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Are you aware that over the course of the Commonwealth's investigation and your
Hold on, Mr. Alessi, court reporting time.
Oh my God, the fucking sirens.
I'll object again. The question is fine.
Can I
Go
begin
ahead
my
and
question?
ask an appropriate question, Mr.
Sure. Do you have knowledge whether there is one time or more than one time?
Hey, dipshit. I'm saying his voice sounds like Alex Jones. His voice, he sounds like Alex Jones, dipshit. Fucking take, I mean, okay, anyway, go ahead. Like his voice sounds like Alex Jones.
For the Commonwealth's position, as you know it from reading documents that you said you've reviewed, that there are different times alleged for the incident to have occurred at 34 Fairview.
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask the question and remove part of it.
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
You have to remove part of that.
Okay, understood, Your Honor. Do you know whether there is more than one time that has been proposed by the Commonwealth for the impact alleged to have occurred at 34 Fairview?
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm going to ask for an instruction.
I'm not giving you instruction now.
Dr. Welcher,
Spanky, I'm going to ask for an instruction. Nah.
in terms of the analyses that have that you have reviewed in this case, is there one time that you understand there to be for a hypothesis for the time of the impact at 34 Fairview?
Objection.
I'm going to see you again, folks. I'm sorry about that.
Oh boy, objection. Objection. I only think it was that baby on TikTok, the baby Spanky.
We'll come back to the other topic a little bit later. As we discussed earlier,
Be right back.
You've
Be right
got,
back. Hold on.
on various documents, you're a biomechanical engineer, but I've also heard you make reference to biomedical. Can you just tell me what you consider yourself, sir? Is it is biomechanical engineer something you consider yourself to be?
Sure. My degrees are in biomedical engineering. The discipline within biomedical engineering that I practice is biomechanics.
Right. And so is it accurate to say that you are a biomechanical engineer?
Yes.
And you say that much in your report, correct?
And the CV and resume I gave you.
Right. Now, in your report, and Your Honor, I have no issue if he refers to the page of his report.
Do you have a paper copy or do you need your?
I do.
If you, sir, could turn to page 9 of your report.
Sure.
And on page 9, you state, as a biomechanical engineer, I have no opinion on any aspect of, and I think you're referring to Mr. O'Keefe's medical treatment or medical diagnoses. I have conducted an accident reconstruction and biomechanical engineering analysis of this matter. Did I read that correctly?
You did.
In that statement, I assume, given you wrote it, is a fair representation of your professional role in this case?
Yes.
And you go on to add on page 9, my biomechanical engineering analysis is determining the effects of physical forces on the human anatomy. Did I read that correct?
You did.
And on your direct examination, is it correct that you stated as a civil engineer, you made an analogy, you assessed the cables and beams of a bridge, as you would assess the cables and beams of a bridge, you assess the human anatomy, you made that analogy, correct?
The analogy that bones are my bridge elements, cables are muscles and ligaments.
Right. And you stated that it's the job of a biomechanical engineer to quantify the force acting upon a person to determine the cause of their injuries, correct?
That is part of what we do.
It's
Yes,
part
the
of,
force,
but it is
the science.
therefore
Whoa.
something that a biomechanical engineer does, correct?
Given sufficient data, yes.
So you know do you know what a force calculation is, sir, when I refer to that term?
I believe so.
What do you believe it to be?
Well, force is usually a physical measurement, but you can also use Newton's second law, which is force equals mass times acceleration.
That's exactly what I want to get. Newton's second law is, and sometimes referred to as the second law of motion. And in the second law is force equals mass times acceleration, correct?
Correct.
And just sort of like simple algebra, sometimes you have one or more of those, but I'm focusing on when you're trying to determine, so you're pulling something out.
Calculator. I thought you were going to ask me numbers, do calculations.
All right.
Oh my God, he just like pulls this shit out like on his own. Like this guy is so fucking. He thinks he owns the courtroom. He really does. He thinks he owns the fucking courtroom.
We're going to do that. We need to do it with the court's permission.
All right.
So if you feel you need to do that, just let me know.
Just leave it right
All
there.
right.
So I just want to get the principles. So Newton's second law, force equals mass times acceleration, and force is oftentimes what you're trying to calculate in a force calculation, correct?
Calculate or measure, yes.
Yeah. And Newton's first law is the law of generally inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. Object in motion tends to stay in motion. We're not talking about that in force. We're talking about Newton's just second law, correct?
You asked me two questions. Newton's first law is generally, as you said, it could be at rest or at constant velocity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In conjunction with the part of your report where you discuss your experiment where you drop a test dummy backwards, correct?
Correct.
You determined that a fall of 69 inches, at that fall, Mr. O'Keefe's head would have accelerated with 458 G's of force.
That's what we actually measured.
Right. And can you tell the jury what is meant by G's?
So G's is a measure of acceleration. If you use the acceleration is measured in feet per second squared, if you divide it by 1 G, which is 32.174 feet per second squared, that gives it to you in G's. People often heard about fighter pilots losing consciousness at 6 or 7 G's. Basically because your blood's getting sucked away from your head, not because you're being impacted. But G forces, or G's as they're more properly called, is a measure of the acceleration. It's just whatever the acceleration is divided by what we all feel when we're standing here, which is
What happened to this guy's fucking head? I didn't even notice this. What happened to him? Is this if his head is always like this, I apologize. What happened to this guy? You go an after party at Brian Albert's house? What happened to his face?
1 G of gravity.
And you estimated Mr. O'Keefe's head weight of approximately 15.7 pounds. You used a percentage. Is 15.7 about right for the mass? Of
Okay. I apologize.
So if we apply Newton's second law, we keep F force open as the unknown. We take and apply the mass, which is 15.7, multiply it by the acceleration. You end up with a force acting upon Mr. O'Keefe's head of 7,200 pounds. Do I have that right? That's right out of your report.
So that math is all correct. Falling backwards onto a hard surface from his standing height will give you approximately 7,200 pounds of force.
And that 7,200 pounds is the previous unknown F in the Newton's second law equation, correct?
Correct.
So now we have an answer for F, 7,200 pounds. Now you then go on to note that the applicable scientific literature states that a fracture to the occipital bone, and just to review, the occipital bone is the back of the head right here, right?
Correct.
So you then, as I understand, you go to scientific literature, and you concluded that a fracture to the occipital bone can occur with an average force of 1,634 pounds from a fall distance of 40 inches, correct? I'm sorry. How many inches? 440. That's in your report?
Well, you mixed two things together. There was stuff that reported force data. You had those numbers correct. A range of between 1,150 and 2,150. A mean of 1,634 pounds.
1,634.
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to do is see if this is correct. So if you can get a fracture of the occipital bone in an average force of 634 pounds.
No. 1,634.
I thought that's what I said. If I did, I missed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just heard 634.
No, 1,634.
My apologies.
And you compare that to the 7,200 pounds of force that you calculated. Surely you're going to have a fracture of the occipital bones through that calculation in that comparison, correct?
Correct. Falling on a hard surface can definitely fracture your skull.
So I'm not getting at the manner. I'm just applying the Newton's second law. Newton's second law doesn't look at manner, does it? It just acceleration depends upon the surface.
Yes, of course.
Okay. At the surface, does it?
So it's a function of the surface. The A value is a function of the surface you hit.
So you're saying acceleration depends upon the surface?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right.
For an impact, it does.
Look at how cocky he
Now,
is.
let's go to the study you cited. Injuries to pedestrians in real accidents in their relation to collision and car characteristics.
25.
That's the one I think it is. I'm just the same one. What he cites in his document. Study states that head injuries are the most common injury type for motor vehicle collisions, constituting more than 61% of all injuries sustained from motor vehicle collisions.
Can the witness see the document being referred to?
Do you have your report in front of you?
I have my report, but reference 25 is not in the section he's referring to.
Why don't you show it to him, Mr. Alessi?
I do not have with me of pedestrian injuries and relate it to heads. Did you not, on your direct, talk about percentages of injuries that are head injuries in impacts of pedestrians with cars?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you came up with a number. What I'm trying to do is to compare that number to the number in the study that you cite. If you don't remember, that's okay. We'll just move to the next question.
Can I go to my slide?
Whatever you can use to determine what was the percentage that's in the study that you cite.
61%.
That number is correct. You're quoting a sentence. I want to pull the paper up, but the number is correct.
Okay, so doesn't this article also state that of all head injuries sustained by motor vehicle collisions, only 12.7 of them are fatal?
That does, yes.
Did you mention that only 12.7 are fatal on your direct examination?
It's circled with a red box on my slide.
Did you mention that on your testimony on
I
direct?
thought I did.
Did he?
This article was published back in 1979, correct?
That's correct.
It's 46 years old. Therefore, I did the math correct, right?
That sounds correct.
Are you aware that given advancements in science since 1979, advancements in medicine, advancements in technology, The currently understood most common injuries as a result of pedestrian motor vehicle collisions are injuries to the lower extremities.
I'd have to see the study. That wouldn't surprise me. Car technology, especially, for example, with pedestrian safety systems, has caused autonomous braking. So you're getting fewer higher severity crashes, which results in a higher propensity for lower extremity injuries. It's the higher extremity crash that causes the head to either slap into the hood or the window and or bounce off, to where if you get the lower severity crashes, you can still maintain a standing posture. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's accurate.
So you would agree that as of January 2022, the most common injury as a result of a pedestrian motor vehicle collision is one to lower extremities.
No, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that date.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to fast forward. This is a little boring.
Patients that were attempting to differentiate whether an injury is associated with a fall or a blow, an assault, and they came up with a metric for doing that. Those things are completely separate.
Let's ask it this way. Did you, on your slide presentation that you presented to this jury, did you put the inputs into F equals M times A in your slide presentation with the numbers we talked about?
In my opinion,
Again, it's like you just, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about this part. This is where it gets good, people are saying. I don't know. I just find this whole part boring. I don't know if I'm sitting on the jury. I hear they're all taking notes, but I would just be so bored by this part.
I did access the entire scene. I didn't physically step 7 feet onto the grass to the point of rest, but I stood and photographed where that was. I didn't want to trespass.
Where did you understand the body of Mr. O'Keefe was located?
I know it was 7 feet in from the grass. I've seen cruiser cameras showing people around a body. It's slightly north, and slightly south and a little bit west of the flagpole.
But you didn't access that part of the scene that you just described, correct?
I absolutely did. I took photographs of it. I didn't trespass and stand at that exact location, but I stood right there. We scanned the whole thing. The scanner uses a laser beam that goes out, 150, 200, 300 feet. So we scanned all that stuff.
Did your scan topography?
Yes.
By the way, I think we caught them doing this live. Let's look this up. Canton cover up part 408. I believe this is when he was doing it. Remember Sergeant Bukaki seen outside 34 Fairview Road surveying for Kearney retrial after disastrous Trooper Paul testimony. September 24th. Isn't this right when he got involved? Is that Jud the Chud right there? And this is them. Remember somebody drove by? This Bukaki.
What's going on? What's going on?
What?
Just doing some surveying of the roadway.
Oh. All right.
Wait, which one's Jud? That's Jud the Chud, right? So this is, yeah. That's got to be him. I love that woman's voice. Because they must have realized that, this whole part thing, it wasn't working out. Actually, we'll come back to this. Anyway, back to this presentation here. So he's talking about how he came across that. You guys remember that article? That was Jud the Chud. We caught that was September 4th. That's what he's talking about right here.
Then you know that there is a berm raised above street level, correct? If you did the scan.
Correct.
Do you know the height of that berm?
I believe it's 4 inches.
Nowhere in your report, when you're comparing the height of Mr. O'Keefe to the spoiler, do you account for that 4 inches of the berm, do you?
So yes and no. As I indicated, we don't know exactly where the point of impact is, whether he was completely in the road or up on the berm.
You don't.
But, for example, where the tire spins on the Lexus, that could be where she's driving up on the curb. And so then that tire will be at the height of the curb.
She's up on the
he's
curb?
standing on the higher part, and the right rear tire of the Lexus goes up there and spins, then that would be at the same height. We don't know the exact point of impact. So I don't know whether he was on the road or in the street. On the street or on the side of the road.
Exactly. But when you did your depiction on your slide, you remember you had the ruler, you measured the height.
So, yep.
Where was it? Was it you in that slide?
It was.
Where were your feet?
On the ground.
Not on the berm, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you chose a measurement, which was the ground, to the top toward the spoiler, and you took a measurement. And you said that approximates the height of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Of the laceration of Mr. O'Keefe.
Exactly. What you were doing was you were trying to determine and present testimony on whether or not that laceration could be caused by the spoiler, and to do so, you had to take measurements, correct?
Correct.
So you chose to place Mr. O'Keefe in your simulation on the ground. You didn't choose to put him on a berm that would be 4 inches higher, did you?
Nor did I put the Lexus 4 inches higher. I didn't either one of them.
Why would the Lexus be 4 inches higher? The Lexus is what it is. So he's admitting, I don't know if John was on the street or if he's on top of, they call it a berm. I don't know where I'm from. You call it a curb. Apparently it's called a berm. Call me old fashioned. We always call those things curbs. So the curb is 4 inches tall. So if he's standing on top of that, then his whole calculation is off. And he admittedly doesn't know where John was. The science, you know?
So the point is, it's certainly possible that if there's 4 to 5 more inches, that would take that eye out of the ability to be hit by the spoiler. Isn't that correct?
No, because if it's 4 to 5 inches higher and he leans his head down,
oh my God,
to it, again, we don't know the exact position of his head.
If we don't know the position of his head. Maybe he's putting his fucking head down. He went full Plevin. That's the Plevin theory, that he was bending over. He actually went full Plevin and said that maybe he had his head down. Maybe he was here. Maybe he was standing here. Maybe he was standing here. Maybe he has his head down. Maybe is reasonable doubt. All this is fucking saying, I don't fucking know. He could have been doing it. Maybe he did this. I don't fucking know. Maybe. Or maybe he got the shit kicked out of him inside the house. And all the people who destroyed their fucking cell phones. I wonder if that was factored into his calculation. Was that in your PowerPoint? Alessi should have asked him that. Did you factor into your scientific analysis the fact that Brian Higgins, this would be a good time to get it in, I guess, that Brian Higgins destroyed his cell phone at an Army base? Did that factor into your decision at all? Because this is about the science after all, right?
Did you, in your slide yesterday, describe the possibility that his head would be down? As I understand it, you're positioned in that photo just like this. You're not positioned like that in any way presented to the jury, were you?
I'm trying to make it clear. We don't know his exact body position at the point of impact, nor do we know the exact position on the ground. So, which is part of the reason why I haven't tried to exactly simulate this, because we don't have enough parameters to do that. So
another thing, him holding this fucking pen pissed me off too, because he tries to act like all smart. Look, I'm holding a fucking pen. I'm so smart. I have a calculator next to me. I'm so fucking smart. This guy's such a charlatan.
That information. I'm showing the geometry relative to someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height.
So you don't have the information to do that properly, so therefore you can't conclude that he had a laceration to the eye from the spoiler by your own answer that you just gave, correct?
So it was done properly. We don't have absolute information to say where exactly he was. I'm pointing out that the physical evidence, the height, matches the height of the laceration. That is one data point of many data points.
So you would have at least concede that the level of his eye could be non-contacting that fin because you don't have information as you just described.
Sure, it could be from contacting the ground.
Pardon?
It could be from contacting the ground. It could be from other things.
But you don't have the information necessary to conclude with any certainty that Mr. O'Keefe at the time of impact had a level of his head in an upright such that it hit that spoiler. You don't have that information, correct?
We don't have that level of certainty. We have that the height and geometry matches.
And you didn't take into consideration the berm, and you didn't mention the berm at all when you were discussing this measurement with the jury yesterday, correct?
That is not correct. You asked me two questions. I absolutely considered the berm. And the second question when I presented it to the jury, I mentioned the berm when we showed the picture of the shoe in the snow, but that was it.
That's my question. I'll ask it a different way. When we were talking not about finding a shoe in the snow, and you mentioned a berm, I'm talking about when you did the measurement of whether or not the laceration could be caused by the spoiler, you didn't mention accounting for berm height when you discussed that measurement with the jury, did you?
That is correct.
Likewise, you didn't present any Newton's second law analysis regarding the front of Mr. O'Keefe's head with respect to whether his head was contacted by that spoiler, did you?
Correct. Again, it was a glancing hit. We wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh, so it's a glancing hit to the front of the head?
The glancing hit, yeah.
This whole pedestrian impact is a glancing hit.
So you can have your arm to the side like this, with the back of the vehicle coming like this, and you could glance the right eye with the arm out. Is that what you said?
Glance.
That's what my picture shows when I'm standing next to the car.
That's the Trooper Paul moment I was waiting for. Although I wish we could see him. That so you can glance your fucking eye. It's going 24 miles an hour. Dude. Bro, just because you got hit going 2 miles an hour doesn't mean you know shit about like getting hit by a fucking car. God, this guy's so full of shit.
I could probably find the slide for you.
So you didn't do a force analysis to determine how much force would be applied assuming a contact with the right eye, did you?
No, we didn't.
And force analysis is what biomechanists do, correct? That's what a biomechanist does.
All right. Yeah.
Affected by that spoiler, did you?
I could probably find the slide for you.
That's what a biomechanist does.
That is part of what
they do.
So I lined up his anthropometry relative to the known height of the vehicle.
You attempted to line it up. That's one method, but another method is to apply Newton's second law, like you did to the back of the head when he fell, correct?
Correct, if we had more information.
Mr. Alessi, why don't we break here?
Thank you, Your Honor.
So jurors, your lunch is here. We'll see you.
Okay. So then they go, the lunch takes an hour and 15 minutes. And then we come back and we have some more shit. Let's see. Now they got really good after lunch. After lunch was more entertaining, I thought.
Start with that one.
Okay.
Tell me what you're ready to say.
That becomes a glancing contact.
Impact is calculation of an impact, not as to whether it's glancing or not.
So you want a direct head-on impact in the arm, not a glancing hit where the Lexus comes in, hits the arm, and they continue off together?
I'd like to start with that, just so we can hopefully expedite it for the jury.
Okay.
I'm going to want to get you what you have depicted in your diagram of having pulling the arm out. And that's not a glancing impact. Is that, sir, with the right arm in parallel with the back of the Lexus?
Yes, it is. So really, I'm sorry, let me finish, please. What you're concerned about is where the center of mass is. With the center of mass out towards the corner of the car, that becomes a glancing contact. So you don't have a center of mass contact, you have a glancing contact.
Okay, fair enough. So let's start the first force calculation.
I need my calculator.
I need my calculator. Tell me what
Okay.
you're ready to say.
Go ahead.
So let's take a scenario where it's a center of impact.
Center of mass.
Center of mass impact, right?
Okay.
Oh my
Impact
God.
with right arm.
Okay.
Let's start with that one.
Okay. And you want to use like a 10 millisecond?
Yeah, be conservative. Yeah, let's use a 10 millisecond for the impact window.
Okay. Well, then he brings out his calculator. Look at me. I'm so smart. I'm doing math. Look at me. I'm so serious. I have glasses.
88 pounds. I made a triangular crash pulse assumption.
Right. And if you
Look at him. Look at this guy.
took the milliseconds in half, become
Look at
less
this
conservative,
fucking
would you end up doubling the 2188 number?
If you cut it in half, you would double, yes.
Exactly. Through simple mathematical semi-algebraic application of the numbers, correct? You
Correct.
divide.
We're doing a little simplification in terms of the crash pulse shape, but generally, yes.
Right. So, but let's take the conservative number, the lower number, 2188 that you came up with. Do you know from the literature, as you did with the head, you went to the literature and said, this is how much pounds of force you would get to have to cause a break of the occipital bone. Do you know from the literature how much force it would take to break an arm bone?
I have an idea, yes.
What is your idea?
So for a distributed load, such as this, not a concentrated load.
Oh, I'll give you a
you're gonna need
distributed
somewhere
load.
between,
Stop it.
I've seen, and this is for cadaver tests, a low of like 2,500, maybe a
You,
little
you can't say distributed load, my dude. You just can't do it.
lower to a high of 7,000.
Oh,
Sir, you
God.
have switched, haven't you? We're talking about center mass impact. Did you in your calculation just switch to a side swipe impact to do your calculation? I'm asking about a center of mass impact. How much force would you need? Let's start with the hand. Maybe it's a simpler one. Do you know how much force it takes to break, any of the hand bones, you know what I'm referring to, the phalangeals, yes, the metacarpals, and the carpals?
Correct.
How much pounds of force do you need to break any one of those bones?
Actually, I didn't find any distributed loading on the amount of force. I don't know.
Well, no, I understand. But I'm asking, do you know from the literature, not a calculation? Doesn't the literature tell you? Can't you go to the literature like you did with the head and you say, okay, to break the occipital bone, the literature says you need a minimum amount of force of this.
Okay.
Arm to do that. So it would depend on the mass of the hand.
What is the range of force that you would need to break a bone in the hand? Do you know from the literature? If you don't, that's okay.
Look at this guy.
I could probably figure it out.
How long would it take you to figure it out? Do you know from the literature what that number is?
God, we got
No, off the top of my head, no.
Is 300 to 400 pounds of force sound right from the literature that it would take to break a bone in the hand?
For a distributed load,
Yes.
such as the taillight, no.
No, not a distributed load. A load from a motor vehicle going backwards.
Right, that's a distributed load.
Right. So you're saying 300 to 400 pounds of force would not be enough to break any bone in the hand. Is that your answer?
So for a flat distributed load, like hitting the taillight, you're gonna need higher.
How about another part of the back of the vehicle?
I guess if you hit on the very corner and it wasn't a distributed impact, like if you had a more concentrated impact,
yes,
that could increase or decrease the amount of force required.
How much would it decrease it from the number you gave?
Depends on what you're hitting, what it's made out of.
The
contact
Lexus
area.
SUV. Let's assume. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Contact. You don't know. You testify to on direct. You don't know exactly where that point of contact is.
Correct.
You don't know.
Except it's on the taillight.
Well, you're saying it's on the tail light, but you didn't observe any impact yourself personally, right?
Right.
Did I see Miss Reed's Lexus?
You didn't see an impact, right?
That's correct.
So, and there is no firsthand witness that saw under your view that a collision occurred, there's no witness to say where the arm was, correct?
There's no person that saw it.
Right.
That's right.
And you have chosen a point of contact, okay? You chose that for your analysis.
Correct.
Correct.
And you picked that location, but it's also possible that under your theory that a collision occurred, that arm could have been impacted any part of the back of the vehicle. That's possible, isn't it?
That's not probable, no.
I'm asking, is it possible?
Anything is possible. I don't deal in possibilities. I deal in probabilities. It's not probable.
So, but you don't know exactly where the point of impact was.
So within the range of the light and the exact angle of the hand, no, I don't. What I do know is at the rear tail light area.
So your assumption is that it had, that because there's a tail light that is altered, it must have been by Mr. O'Keefe's arm. That's your conclusion, correct?
My conclusion is there are tail light fragments, a broken glass, lacerations to his arm, and his DNA on the back of the vehicle in the area of the tail light.
Why does any of that, like, who cares if there's taillight there? That should not factor into the science of it all. Like, that doesn't, there shouldn't matter if there's DNA on the fucking taillight. That doesn't affect the science of it all, my dude.
Then you're not going to move to strike the DNA part of that answer.
Exactly.
I'm not going to strike it.
Okay. So you're making assumptions. You're taking what you view to be certain data, and you're coming to a conclusion. But that is based upon circumstantial information, correct? Is that fair?
Are you calling like pieces of the tail light at the scene around his body circumstantial information?
Sir, let me go to the force and go back to the force analysis. Let's go back to the numbers. I want to stay.
You're
honest
not
and saying
asking
just
the questions.
calculation. So let's go back to the minimum amount of force. You understand from the literature that it takes to break any bone in the arm from the finger up. Let's start with a hand. What's the minimum amount of force that can be applied to break a bone in the hand?
So it depends on the loading. So I don't actually know. In terms of the forearm, I can tell you there's data that shows up to 300 Gs of loading. You will not get fractures. There's one up to 750 Gs showing no fractures for a male of similar height and weight, Mr. O'Keefe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's take those numbers.
The one example didn't break a bone, but as you got above 350, you started to break bones.
So you got above 350.
Look at this guy.
You have 7 times the amount of force necessary to break the bone, correct, in the force analysis?
No. If you take 300 Gs times a 12-pound arm, you get 3,600 pounds. The calculation you asked me to run earlier gave you...
He really needed to multiply 300 times 12. Like, it's 3,600.
2,188 pounds. Right. So you are 1,412 pounds above the force required. Like the tolerance is 1,412 pounds above the force you would say get in a 20-mile-an-hour impact.
Okay, correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the? You said
2,100.
Dyslexic? Or did you say Lexus?
What?
That you calculated
Watch
from my
this.
hypothetical of this Lexus SUV going backwards. You came up with the F number of 2,188.
Watch
correct?
this.
I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the? You said
2,188.
Dyslexic? Or
Like, what the fuck? You know he said Lexus. Listen to this dyslexic motherfucker. He's there. Like, this part right here is he's just fucking with him. He's just arguing to argue and just being difficult. Like, listen to this shit.
Watch force required. Like the tolerance is 1,412 pounds above the force you would say get in a 20-mile-an-hour impact in terms of the fracture forces.
Let's do it this way.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it this way.
Okay.
The force that you calculated from my hypothetical of this Lexus SUV going backwards, you came up with the F number of 2,188, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't. What was the? You said
2,188.
Dyslexic?
He
You
didn't
said
say
Lexus? I didn't understand what you said.
The Lexus
My apologies.
SUV that you've been talking
You know what he fucking said. He didn't hear dyslexic. He did not fucking hear that. This guy's such a fucking piece of shit.
about.
Gotcha.
Okay?
I didn't hear
You
it.
came up with a number for F for force of 2,188. Are you changing that number?
Nope.
Okay, so let's go with your number of force from this vehicle of 2,188. I'm just simply asking, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm of a human being? How much force, not acceleration, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm?
Sure. So somewhere between 2,500, the one cadaver tested the distributed load force to break it.
Let's go to the hand.
If I take my pencil, which has a very fine point, and jam it through my hand, I can jam it right through my hand because it's a very small point. But if I distribute the load and a broader load,
Stop
such as
saying
hitting the taillight,
distribute the
it takes
load.
much more force because the load's distributed across it.
Oh my
So I'm
God.
gonna sit on the corner of my bed. I might sink in this far when I sit on the corner of my bed. But what happens when I spread my load out, when I lay on my bed like
Stop
this?
your
I
load.
don't sink in as
Oh
far.
my God.
Has my weight changed? And weight is basically force. No, but I distributed it over a larger area. So for a given force,
Distributing
you get
my
less
load.
sinking
My
into the
load
matrix.
is
So
everywhere.
if you hit a broad surface like a taillight or a wall like this, it takes much more force than if I were to take a singular small round object and jam it into the hand. That hurts. This does not.
Okay, if you can hear my question, if it's unclear, you tell me. For not a pen, not your bed, but for a Lexus SUV of 6,000 pounds, is there any part of the back of the Lexus in any manner where you can get a break to the hand from 300 to 400 pounds of force.
Any part on the back of the Lexus?
Yes.
Look at him.
Probably.
Okay. So
Okay.
probably, your words, you can get a break to the hand from just between 300 to 400 pounds of force. That's what you just said, correct?
So you're taking the totality of the
Oh
back of it,
my
like if you got it
God,
stuck
this
in the bumper?
fucking guy.
Potentially, yeah. But from a taillight or a broad flat surface, no.
I'm not asking about taillight. Any part of the back of an SUV, you agree that it is probable that you can get a break of the hand bones from just 300 to 400 pounds of force.
Your question is incomplete, right? You said any part of the back, but then you wanted me to not include taillights or not include the rear body panel. If you hit a very narrow part of the car, like say the edge of the tailpipe, that creates much more of a narrow contact. So contact drops. So hitting the edge of the exhaust.
Or Dr. Welcher's presentation for the back of the Lexus, please. Sure. Any part of the back of the Lexus SUV that has that more concentrated area where if the hand hit 300 to 400 pounds of force could break it. Is there any part, for example, the edge of the license plates, above the license plates, the L symbol that sticks out
This is just so creepy how he dressed like John. I just can't get over
would
it.
be concentrated? Anything you see there could 300 to 400 pounds of force contacting at any of those points cause a fracture of any of the bones of the hand.
So I don't know how to show this because in the middle photograph, right where the 2 is on the license plate,
yes,
there's a vertical edge. That area is recessed in. So if you hit right on that vertical edge, that could potentially do it.
That could do it. How about the L of for the Lexus symbol if the hand is there?
No, it's not deep enough. The compliance of the hand is just going to stand potentially.
Where in 2188 force, you could have a fracture of the hand.
Okay.
That could cause a fracture with that.
I'm sorry, to the hand?
Oh my God.
Yes, Mr. Wolf. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Skip
According to the
ahead.
autopsy report, no overt fractures, but the x-rays I saw, none of them were the arm, and the autopsy report said no sternum, spine, I think it said torso. They didn't say that there were no fractures there.
Was there any evidence in the medical records that you reviewed of any indication whatsoever of a fracture in Mr. O'Keefe's hand?
No.
Was there any indication whatsoever in any of the medical records you reviewed that there was a fracture of any bone in the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe?
Not that I saw. Again, it wasn't x-rayed.
Was there any indication in the medical records and the autopsy that you say you reviewed of any fracture of any bone anywhere in the body of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
Other than the occipital bone or the skull?
There's a couple bones in the skull that are fractured, but other than the skull, no.
Correct. So, are you aware that the medical examiner for the state of Massachusetts, Dr. Shorty Bello, performed an autopsy on Mr. O'Keefe? Are you aware of it?
Yes.
And you're aware of it because you read the autopsy report, correct?
Correct.
Are you implying, it's a question, that Dr. Shorty Bello missed a fracture or didn't look properly for a fracture on Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I'm simply indicating that, for example, a hairline fracture, I didn't see any evidence that they actually x-rayed the structure, so there'd be no overt evidence of that.
There were wounds on the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And you are saying that the medical examiner should have x-rayed that to determine whether there was a hairline fracture? Is that your testimony?
I can't
you're asking
believe
me
this
about
shit.
evidence and proof of absence of fracture. So I would look for an x-ray.
Like this guy really said this. This guy really opened up the possibility that actually John had a shit ton of broken bones and they just didn't do an x-ray on it. So maybe he did have broken bones. This motherfucker, this coy motherfucker playing dumb. Oh, motherfucker, you know, he knows. He really is saying this, that Shorty Bello didn't do x-rays on him. So maybe John actually had a whole bunch of broken bones. Right? I mean, this fucking piece of
See,
shit.
if that was the case,
he knows.
I haven't seen any evidence of an x-ray of the arms.
So it's your position that on every autopsy, there should be an x-ray of every bone in the body.
Yeah.
And that a clinical judgment of the medical examiner should not be accepted, and there should be an x-ray of every bone before a conclusion can be drawn. That there's
All
no
206
fracture to a
bones
bone
in your
body.
body.
Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. Like, I'm an engineer. You're asking me about proof. And so proof is somebody looked at it, somebody took an x-ray, somebody palpated and found a comminuted fracture. So we're talking about proof.
Sir, I didn't use proof in my question.
You asked me about the opinion of a medical examiner. I'm not a medical.
Time. Only one person at a time. Mr. Alessi, let him finish, and then you can ask the question.
Your Honor, I hadn't finished my question.
Okay, then finish your question, Dr. Welcher. Wait for the question. Then let Dr. Welcher respond. It's a nightmare for medical
I understand, but I think I've been doing that, but I'll redouble my efforts. Dr. Welcher, I didn't use proof in my question. I'm going to repeat the question. Is there any indication in any medical record or autopsy report of the decedent of any fracture of any bone in the body?
That was not your original question, but to answer your question.
Oh my God.
Except for the skull.
Except for the skull.
Correct.
The skull of Mr. O'Keefe was of significance to the medical examiner, Dr. Shorty Bello, in the conclusion she reached in the autopsy report that you read.
System.
Did you read the conclusions of Dr.
All right.
Present, as you have stated, a force calculation with regard to the arm? You did a paint exercise.
The paint
And
exercise.
What I want
Let's
to
talk
do
about
is
that.
to reference, and if we need to bring it up, sir, to refresh you, slides 103 to 120 of your PowerPoint presentation in this trial. I'll just call it the blue paint exercise. Is that descriptive enough for you to know what I'm talking about?
No, it's not an exercise. It's a test.
Okay. You want to
Oh,
call it a blue paint test?
Sure.
Okay. Let's call it blue
Oh
paint
my
test. I just want
God. It's not an exercise. It's a test. Shut the fuck
try
up.
to expedite things and use parlance that we can agree on. So your blue
Okay.
paint test involved painting the right rear tail light blue, correct?
Correct.
Positioning the test subject behind the tail light, correct?
Correct.
With the arm held out, correct?
Correct.
And at a right angle, correct?
Correct.
And then the vehicle, the Lexus SUV, is backed into the test subject, correct?
So I ran 3 different tests.
I know, well, let's just do each one at a time, okay?
Okay, so you start with the last one.
I'll start with whatever one you want.
Okay.
How about if we start with the one at 1 mile per hour?
None of them are at 1 mile an hour.
2 miles per hour?
Oh my
Let's
God.
do 2 miles per hour. Let's start with that one, okay? Now, did you conduct that test in an attempt to show that the injury patterns on Mr. O'Keefe's right arm are consistent with being struck by the Lexus tail light on that arm?
So generally, I want to show that the location, area, and span over which that headlight covers matches the location and area of the lacerations on his arm.
That's what I want to get to. So you discussed data that you say shows that that you say shows the Lexus SUV was traveling above 20 miles per hour during the period that you allege the SUV made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. Is that correct?
No. Where'd you get that from?
Hold on. Okay. The answer is no.
Where'd you get
So
that
that's-
from? Look at that.
Did you do a
Look at
test
that
involving
face.
20 miles per hour?
I did some other backing tests.
Yes.
I was looking at how the rear pedestrian system and what warnings you got from the rear pre-collision system, the PCS system.
Where'd you get that from? Huh?
Let me ask you this. Would you agree that you did a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 2 miles per hour? Did you?
Of course.
Do that? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
You didn't do a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 20 miles per hour, correct?
That is correct. I was not going to hit myself with a Lexus at 20 miles an hour.
Maybe you should.
You could have done other tests where the vehicle was going at 20 miles per hour if you used a crash test dummy, correct?
Oh, yeah.
You
If
could have
you-
done that.
If you use the right crash test dummy, and then to set up the test, because generally you only get 1 or 2 shots at it, if you damage the car, you have to know everything about the parameters. And so again, pedestrian impacts are so very sensitive to initial angles. If I were to do a test and it was off a tiny, tiny bit, and we got some different results, I would be in here having to defend it. Well, your own testing didn't show it. Point is we don't have enough information to be able to conduct that testing.
Exactly. So your assumption, as I understand it, is that the Lexus was going 24 miles per hour in reverse and made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. That's your analysis.
No, there is not one single slide I have that says this is the speed he was hit at 24 miles an hour.
What?
Do you know, you have a hypothesis at what speed you believe there was impact? Do you have the point of impact?
I do not know the exact speed. We don't know the initial point of contact. We don't know where exactly he was on the road. We don't have enough information to determine that.
So then why are you fucking charging Kearney with murder? You don't have any information to determine anything. The most important facts of the case, you don't have the fucking information. But you did you painted yourself blue. I mean, this is madness. They want to put a woman in jail over this? This is madness.
Let's talk about the other information you don't have.
Okay.
You don't have the information as to from your alleged point of contact to where Mr. O'Keefe landed. You don't have that information, do you, sir?
I'm sorry, where is my alleged point of contact?
You allege that there was a point of contact between the Lexus, the back of the Lexus, and
Correct.
Mr. O'Keefe, right?
Right, but I don't know where that is on the road.
You don't know that. I'm going to go through the information that you don't have.
Okay, nope.
You don't have that. You don't have the point of impact. You don't have where in the road there was impact under your.
You don't have anything.
Those are the same thing.
Right. You don't have where under your view, the body of Mr. O'Keefe landed precisely. You don't have that information, do you?
What do you mean by precisely? We know it's 7 feet off the road. We know it's near the flagpole. We don't know where it started. The problem isn't where it landed. The problem is where it started.
Right. And you don't have that information.
I don't have where it started.
Okay, you don't have it. So you have nothing.
The painful point of the test itself.
So that was the focal point of that test. The focal point of the purpose of that test was to show the contact width and location of how someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height, which happens to be me, contacts and where
Absolutely.
contact,
Oh, yeah.
where the broken taillight was. So no, that was the focal point of the testing. That's why I did the testing. That's why we're calling it paint transfer testing.
Right. But my question, sir, is accurate information. Do you agree or disagree with that?
You didn't give me enough information. I can't agree nor disagree. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Let's go to, on direct examination, you testified that after the 1162
I would
trigger
too.
event, Ms. Reed's vehicle traveled a distance of 87 feet. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I remember that.
You are mixing up two things. Remember,
Oh,
the
my
trigger
God.
is in the middle of the event.
Give
What?
it the chart, please. Your Honor, I'll give you the, as soon as Mr. Woke gives it the about a calculation of 87 feet where you added, there was like a 30-something number and a 50 number, and you came to 87. Do you remember that in your slide presentation, sir?
Slide 37, yes.
Right. So if we could bring up that slide, please, Your Honor, with your permission.
Okay.
Dr. Welcher can.
Oh, I'm not the only one that has problems.
Is that 53 number down there?
Is relative to where it started. And then positive is forward. And then as you back up, once
is that in the yellow there? Is that 87, sir?
It is.
Okay, is that the 87 number you were
Hold on a second. You asked me to identify. So then see where the one next to it says minus 53?
Yes.
0.429. If you go up, so it's not a little bit down, a little bit, and see where it's changing directions at 34.157?
Yes.
You add those two together, that gives you the same result. So when 34 feet forward and then 50-something feet backwards.
Right. And what is the 87 feet traveled, is that what you're indicating is the distance traveled during the trigger? Is that what the 87 represents to you?
That is so 87 represents the total rearward distance traveled during the trigger.
Okay. So you believe 87 represents the total rearward distance. Did I hear you correctly?
Correct.
Now, can you
just hold on to be clear? So it starts. It
oh my
forward,
God.
Then it backs up, passes where it initially started, and goes 53 feet further back.
That's what I want to get to.
Here we go. Here we
How
go.
many feet did you say on direct, and did you just say now that it went 87 feet in reverse?
Correct.
Okay.
From the furthest point forward.
Yes.
Well, that's what I want to get to because I want to have this point clear. How many feet do you believe the Lexus went in reverse based upon your PowerPoint presentation? Not
87.
when it went forward and then came backwards. How many feet do you believe that vehicle went in reverse?
87.
The question doesn't make any sense.
No.
Because when it went forward, then it went in reverse.
87. 80-fucking-7, dude. You know what it make sure forward reverse. So he moved forward, okay? And then from there, how fucking far after it? 87. The answer's 80-fucking-7, and you know it. You fucking piece of shit. No wonder Bernadette's sending you emails.
How many feet do you believe the Lexus went during the trigger?
So it went a total of 80. It went 34 feet forward.
87.
Then it came back 80, another 53 feet past where it went.
87.
Exactly. So you've testified that the 1162-2 trigger event represents
the real
a backwards
answer.
maneuver, correct?
So again, that was clear. It initially pulls forward and then backs up.
I would like you to define, so it's clear to the jury, do you consider the event of 1162-2 just backward movement, or do you consider the trigger to be forward movement and adding to it backward movement? Which one?
So can we pull the slide up?
Sure.
If you scroll over a little bit to the right, you have it on the brakes coming in, slowing, stopping, going into reverse, and then backing up.
So you conclude that the vehicle for this trigger went 34 feet forward, is that correct?
Correct.
How do you know the vehicle didn't go 150 feet forward? How do you know it just went 4 feet forward? How do you know that?
So the only data we have is this 10-second window. And so we have the velocity when it's going forward. We know how much time it took to do that. So that tells us how far it would travel. Velocity times time is distance.
So are you saying that it is a certainty that it went forward 34 feet and there's no other number of feet it could have gone forward? You're absolutely certain of the 34 number?
No. Again, if you look, see where it says vehicle speed?
I see it.
So at the start of this event.
I just can't. This is, people are like, I want ARCCA to go first. No. I want Matthew DeSogra to go first. He's the tech guy. He's better than this guy. He's going to fucking, while this tech stream bullshit is in their fucking heads, get somebody in here who's not going to beat around the bush and is just going to come on and just put this shit to rest right away. I will go with Matthew DeSogra first while this shit is fresh in their fucking heads. Friday, bring them on.
Which is the trigger -5. So the trigger is actually where it's triggered, and it takes 5 seconds before, 5 seconds after. But when the trigger happens, it's actually stopped. But the 5 seconds before, it's going 13.6 miles an hour forward. So at the start of the data, it's still going 13.6 miles an hour forward, but it's slowing down. You can see you have the brake, where it says brake SW, which is short for switch. The brake switch is a 1, which means it's on. So when this event data started,
yeah, and that too, Misty. Yeah.
I'll ask the question a different way. Are you certain that the distance traveled forward during this trigger event was 34 feet? Are you certain?
Are you certain?
I'm pretty certain during the trigger event.
Pretty certain or certain?
Well, I've checked the math. I've had people check my math. So I try to be as accurate as possible. I would say I'm certain, but I'm an engineer. Okay. So there's no absolutes. There's no 100% in my job.
So you're certain of the 34 feet. And is it correct that you're certain of 53 feet going backwards? Are you certain of that, sir?
So backwards from its initial starting position.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And therefore you are certain of a total of 87 feet traveled that you have at the bottom in that yellow orange. You're certain of that as well?
87 feet of backing, correct.
Okay. Now, you also testified on direct, as I understand it, in slide 23, that different numbers represent different gear states of the vehicle. Is that correct?
Not for a gear shift. I'll tell you anything.
Numbers in blue font on black.
Like, for example, if you look at column H, I simply did a unit conversion. So it's the same
data to get to the blue, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we're going to keep that up, Mr. Wilson's per minute speed values produced by the car, believe represents wheel slippage. Is that correct?
There are data points in that represent slippage.
That's my question. In which slide, sir, would you like to put that there is 762.2, correct?
Correct.
And as I understand it, you testified that this trigger event was caused by a depression of the accelerator pedal at more than the 30%. Is that correct?
It's a transition into reverse and then a quick acceleration exceeding 30%.
So let's
in reverse.
Okay, got it. So the accelerator pedal being depressed to this degree, more than 30%, can be the result of wheel slippage, correct?
It doesn't necessarily work that way. You can have wheel slippage at any acceleration, technically, depending on the roadway. It's just what is in the data that shows that it's slipping. It isn't necessarily because of the accelerator. Normally, that's what causes slippage. But it's the data. When you look at the data, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's increasing in speed, but yet the longitudinal acceleration is dropping.
My question, again, doctor, is you can have an accelerator pedal depressed greater than 30%, and it be caused by wheel slippage. That can occur, correct?
Right.
The wheel slippage does not cause the accelerator pedal.
You see, I'm pretty sure what he's getting at here is like, this could have happened in Dayton, right? Wheel slippage, right? That's what could have caused this fucking tech stream data bullshit that you're seeing right there. It's absurd. 24 miles an hour.
I'm not saying a cause and effect. I'm just saying a correlation. Do you understand what I mean by a correlation?
If I may try and straighten this out. So applying heavy acceleration can cause the wheels to spin. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to get at. Already. So in your review of the materials that are related to January 29, 2022, did you become aware of whether there were, and you said you extensively reviewed documents, did you become aware whether there were people at 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Here we go.
And approximately how many people, without regard to names, just number, how many people did you become aware were at 34 Fairview on January 29th, 2022, the early morning hours? How many
16,
people approximately did you become aware were present?
It depends on which time, but there could be as many as 16.
As many as 16. And let's talk about the time period from midnight to 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of how many people could have been present at 34 Fairview at that time period?
So I'm going to see you at sidebar.
Oh, God. Oh, God. So sidebar. Every time things get interesting, sidebar.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, am I correct in my understanding that you believe under your theory, the Lexus for event 1162-2 backed up 53 feet? Am I correct?
No, it backed up a total of 87 feet.
Okay, let's take your 87. It backed up a total of 87. Okay.
Right.
Even better.
And your further theory is that it did so and reached 24 miles per hour, correct?
Correct.
And you stated you have an understanding of a certain number of people, and I don't want to talk about the inside of the house, but just that were at 34 Fairview between roughly 12 and 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of that, sir? Approximately.
I believe I do.
And what is that number?
Did you want them people that were there for that entire window of time, or just?
Yes, 12 to 1.
Oh.
So Mr. Alessi, just move to the last question.
Right, sure. So, sir, did you assume that there were cars parked out front?
Here we go.
34 Fairview
And this,
to 1 o'clock
and this is where I knew this is going. We called this yesterday, the Jeep. Why didn't they press Jennifer McCabe about the white Jeep? We asked about that because she claimed there was a white Jeep parked out there. Brian Higgins' white Jeep. And, that was a lie because Ryan Nagel didn't see a white Jeep. And I don't even think they asked Ryan Nagel about the white Jeep this time. They did last time. They didn't ask him about this time around. Right. And now they're like, actually, we like the white Jeep now because this dumb motherfucker just extended it to 87 feet. And they did the math and they're like, well, 87 feet's going to run you into the white Jeep. You're going to crash into the white Jeep. So now this guy has to say there was no white Jeep there. But will the jury remember that Jennifer McCabe 4 or 5 weeks ago said that there was a Jeep there? That's the real question. And that's what sucks about this.
Did you assume any cars parked out front?
The entire time?
No, I'm just talking 12 to, yeah, any time between 12 and 1. Did you make any assumptions whether there were cars parked out front on the roadway at 34 Fairview? Did you make any assumptions with regard to that?
At a point in time, there was a vehicle behind it.
I'm sorry?
There was a vehicle behind it.
Just one?
That is my understanding. In terms of on the street.
On the street,
Yes.
And what, do you remember the type of vehicle?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle was it?
An F-150 pickup.
Did you have any understanding as to whether there was a Jeep vehicle on the road at that 12 to 1 time period?
There we go.
I have seen testimony somewhere to that effect, but the majority of the testimony was there were no other vehicles.
But you did see testimony that there was also a Jeep type.
He did see testimony? So I thought he was sequestered. You heard Jennifer McCabe's testimony? Okay.
Vehicle on the front, out the front of 34 Fairview between 12 and 1. Is that what you're recalling?
So we're going to let that answer stand, what he's just testified to. Just go ahead and.
Okay. So, Dr. Welcher, what I want to do is to have you, using your data, you say 87 feet for the backup, correct? 1162, up to 20 feet with the vehicle out front.
No, the vehicle had left prior to.
Oh,
If there is at least one vehicle out in front of 34 Fairview, that there would be a collision of the Lexus SUV with the vehicle out front.
No, the vehicle had left prior to the end or prior to event 1162-2.
What
information do you have with regard to how many vehicles are in front of?
Look at Eliza Little laughing. Like, so the white Jeep left between 12 and 1? No, it didn't. Higgy left at 1:30. But again, with the jury, remember all this shit. That's what the hard part is. There's so much shit. Higgy left that Jeep.
34 Fairview at between 12 and 1.
So I have Miss Reed's interview statements. I have statements of a number of witnesses. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names.
I was just going to say, let's not just number of vehicles.
Okay, so I have a number of witness statements at multiple statements from the same witnesses at different times, indicating the path and following the Lexus to the house and then leaving before the event.
Assume that there were vehicles, at least one vehicle parked out front of 34 Fairview. Is there a likelihood that given 24 miles per hour over 87 feet, is there a likelihood that there would be a collision given the weather conditions as you knew them to be at that time?
Yes.
Well, the weather I don't think necessarily plays into whether there would be a collision or not.
Yes.
But we know it backed up 87 feet. So again, it goes forward like 35-ish.
We know.
Back, like 60 something. And so if something is within 65 feet of the rear of it, or whatever the numbers are, I need my slides.
It was 50.
57. If something is within that window, then it would hit it.
All right.
Yes.
So now let's look at
The
another
answer is yes.
scenario. If it's going as you describe it, is there a likelihood that the Lexus would also go upon the lawn in front of 34?
Oh, this is okay.
It depends on where it starts.
You have an opinion, don't you, as to where it starts?
No, I do not. That's actually why I have that diagram showing it off to the side.
That's
I'm
right.
simply showing how far it moved forward, how far it moved back.
You don't know
we don't know
it
where on the roadway it started.
Exactly. You don't know where on the roadway it started. And therefore, all you have is the distance covered, correct?
Correct.
So, but you're saying the distance is 87 feet, correct?
87 feet backwards, yes.
So backwards, 24 miles an hour. Have you ever driven a vehicle backwards 24 miles an hour, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, I think I've driven this Lexus backwards 24 miles.
What? No,
So
you
anybody
fucking
driven a vehicle
haven't.
back- have you ever driven any vehicle back 24 miles an hour at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning?
Probably not since I got out of high school.
Have you ever done it in
What?
probably
not since I got out of high school. I mean, this guy's trying to sound so cool. Like, oh, back in high school, I was such a rebel. We used to fucking go out at 1 o'clock in the morning and drive our car. He's never driven in a car going 24 miles an hour backwards. He never fucking did that. That's a fucking lie. And he certainly didn't do it at 1 o'clock in the morning in high school. This fucking guy, I swear to God.
storm that is beginning.
No.
Have you ever done it when there is less than clear visibility?
No and no.
And have you ever done it when there's low lighting?
Oh, maybe when I've been up skiing in the snow, I've done it.
What?
But again, that's been decades.
Right.
When he was skiing in the snow, he went 24 miles an hour and reversed. I mean, what a fucking liar.
So 87 feet, 24 miles an hour. Are you saying that in every instance that vehicle will stay on the road and for 34 Fairview, it wouldn't go up on the lawn?
When you mean every instance, mean like every possible location on the road it starts from?
Correct.
No, there's some spots. If you start here, it's going to go up on the road, on the yard. If you start too far on the other side, you're going to go over into the neighbor's yard. So it depends on where you start.
Right. And so, given the conditions that we've just described, right? The
Conditions have
weather,
nothing to do
I
with where
need
you
to
start.
finish my
Hold on.
question, sir.
Only one at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
Let him finish his question, please.
Given the conditions that you've described.
Again, I'm just going to do a little thing here. I've done this. I am much more researched on this topic than Jud the Chud. And they should be like, Turtle. We'd like to enter Turtleboy into evidence, right? Again.
Yep.
And again, he was standing right there. And look at that shit. So John O'Keefe, on my camera. All right, so we look at what we did here. This is back when they said it was they initially said it was 62 feet. Which is we measured out where 62 feet was. How far Kearney came. So his body was right over there, and then we're gonna see where 62 feet is, and we're gonna try to see if we can reach 24 miles an hour going backwards. It could be a little, we'll see, school bus coming. So we measured it, yeah, okay. There we go. So, yep, that's 62 feet. So we move it up. Okay, we park it there. There. Saw him. Why the hell would she pull all the way up there in front of the house?
Right.
So
Yeah.
let me, what's the theory of it? So John got out of the car right here alive. First of all, she drops him off. Why would she drop him off here instead of Probably like a normal human being? Right. John's gonna get out here, walk all the way diagonally across the lawn. Makes no sense, right?
And if she pulled ahead, like I heard you say the other night, right in front of that ring camera.
Yeah,
Tell her it's us.
Right. So see this guy's over here like this. So there's, see up there, that's 62 feet. So this is where John O'Keefe was found, right here. His body was found. And they said that Karen Reed came from 62 feet back at 24 miles an hour in reverse and banged him somehow, ended up on here. So this is 62 feet. We're gonna mark it.
Right by your back tire.
Right. An hour.
And you're gonna have to keep going to slow down.
Oh,
So
she ran him over too. And then Jen McCabe looked out the window because I guess they were all just sitting at one of those windows. And Jen McCabe looks out the window. And by the way, see that heat back there? Look how close that is. It should be all the way. And then she's going to be right. How the hell did his body get to right there?
Right.
I mean, you explain that. So anyway, I get in the car, and so this is my first test. I'm gonna go as fast as I can in reverse, because I did not know this was going to happen. Watch what happens. I try to gun it in reverse and watch what happens. Poor Richie. I almost kill Richie here. I almost kill him. There he is. Ready? Here we go. Here we go. Buckle up. Dude, I came pretty close to hitting him there. Like, look at that. That's 14 miles an hour. Like, look how fast it seems in real life. Like, once it starts coming at you. Well, look, I'm on the fucking curb. I go on the grass.
you're on the curb. Yeah, you're on the grass.
I didn't even know.
No.
I almost killed Richie. This was probably a bad idea.
Your back tire's up. You gotta drive. There you go.
So again, that's what happens. You hit the curb. The road curves. Has Jud the Chud tried that? That's what happens. You hit the curb. And I try. So
How
I
fast
try.
did you go? 14. Wow.
14. That was fast. I mean, anything. I got to 13. I'm like scared.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Yeah. 14. That looked fast to me
It's
too.
good. How fast? Like really fast.
Coming at me pretty fast. I kind of jumped a little bit out of the way.
But Jud the Chud does this all the time. He regularly drives 24 miles an hour in reverse. That's what this lying motherfucker wants us to believe. Just like Ian Whiffen drove on Oakdale Road and his phone went up and down 3 flights of stairs, right? But he just didn't show anybody. He didn't film himself doing this. But just trust me, I've done it all the time. These people are such fucking liars.
Yeah, you went right up on it. You can see your tire mark.
Here. Oh, I'm actually getting a tire mark?
Yeah, right here. That's where your tire was.
Yeah. But there was no tire marks when she did. She's better at this. She's really good at this.
I mean, it's a 1 in a million shot because there's an angle too. She would have had to cut the wheel exactly.
She would have to cut the wheel.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. To hit John O'Keefe exclusively in his arm means that she would have to cut the wheel this way just at that moment so that she didn't entirely run over his body and didn't step and didn't drive onto the grass. That she had to immediately cut the wheel. Like, that's fucking amazing. In the snow, and no one heard this. Like, fucking, you have to be retarded to believe this. You have to be. Try that again.
Okay.
Try again.
You want to send up the drone? Is that okay? Are you in a rush?
No, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Then I do it again, and this time, then somebody comes over and says hi. All right. So this time I make sure to turn away from the curb. But the problem with that is that how the fuck do you hit John's arm?
Like, it can't be manslaughter. Like, if she did that on purpose, which she didn't.
That was 17.
You got hit. Okay, so I mean, that's
But it couldn't, according to this theory, he just go to flying. You know?
Yeah.
Shoe comes off, hat comes off.
Yeah. How do you get the scratches? How do you get the scratches that way?
The dog bites.
And the dog bites. Whatever. Oh no, whatever. The abrasions.
So anyway, I do it one more time, and I get to 19. Boom. So yeah, you guys got the point. Jud the Chud doesn't know shit at all. All right, we're almost done.
It is reasonable,
award-winning journalism,
to conclude that that vehicle, under your parameters, would have gone up on the lawn. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
No.
So you don't think there's any possibility that could occur a vehicle going 24 miles an hour at this location, 87 feet backwards, in the dark, with wet pavement at a minimum, and low lighting?
Thank you, Lucy.
You don't believe it's possible for the vehicle to, under your scenario, to have gone up on the lawn? That's not
So
possible.
your first question was reasonable, and I said no. Now you're asking possible. It, of course, is possible. Whether it's reasonable or not, I'd have to know the starting position. If it's
of course it's reasonable. I just showed you how fucking reasonable it is.
very close to the side, then it could be reasonable. If it's further towards the middle of the road because snow is building up on the side of the road, then it's probably not as reasonable. I would need more information to be able to determine whether it's reasonable or not. It's certainly possible. It's possible it could have shot off into space as an engineer, but not probable.
Oh, you think it's possible that it could have been shot off into space, sir?
As an engineer, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility that
Absolutely.
this Lexus
Why
could
is
have
he
shot off into
laughing?
space.
Highly, highly unlikely. But
All
again, you're asking an engineer about possibilities and probabilities.
Let's get back to reality. So in terms of the Lexus itself,
That's when I'm like, do you think this is funny, sir? Do you find this amusing, this process, this murder trial?
because you, under your method of analysis, don't have the starting point, you can't rule out that under your scenario, the vehicle would have gone up on the lawn. You can't rule that out, can you, sir?
I cannot, no.
Okay, now let's go to the next topic. It's belief that the lacerations would have been caused by the vehicle scratching Mr. O'Keefe's arm as it drives past him. Is that correct?
I don't know. I characterize it that way. What happens is, the 6,000-pound vehicle is coming, and he's standing on a, icy, snowy roadway.
Again, I can't believe they're saying a fucking taillight did this, and that the taillight somehow creates these like pairs of marks. Like the taillight just paired up, and it was like, okay, a little 2 here, a little 2 here, a little 2 here, a little dot here. Madness. And he brings up here, and we won't sit through this whole thing, but basically he ends with this, and he says how, like, shouldn't they be this way instead of this way? Shouldn't they be? I mean, it never happened. None of this ever fucking happened. It's fucking fantasy. It's insane. Insane. And everybody knows it. Everyone knows it. So, all right, cool. All right. Let me read some turtle chats here. Oh, by the way, let me just share one more thing I thought was kind of cool. On my way, if you guys, I shared this on Twitter earlier before I started the show. So I went at the beginning of court today. When Karen Reed's team was coming in, I'm standing there with the media. I wasn't doing anything in particular. It wasn't like I'm just standing there. And then she did this. Watch this. Where'd it go? She just goes, "Hi, Aidan." And I'm like, that's never happened before. I'm like, okay. What was that about? And so then I go inside like later on, and I talked to her in the hallway, and she made it clear to me I did that because I want the media to know. Like, I did it in front of the media because there's this like whole thing where it's like, oh, she can't be associated with me because that he's a witness intimidator and there's friction between Turtleboy and Karen, and she doesn't want to be associated with them because of the witness intimidation. And she made it clear that she wanted it to be known that, like, that's my homie. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, yeah, I'm not afraid to be associated with him at all. I say hello to him because he did nothing wrong and I did nothing wrong. And in due time, both of us are going to be free. And that was a nice suit she had on today. I like that more. I liked it more than the green one, to be honest. And I'm a turtle. So there's that, you know, it's way better than this. I have to play it.
Listen, turtle. All right.
Anyway. All right, cool. All right, let me read some turtle chats to end this shindig, shall we? Alrighty. Kayla sends $10, goes, please give a shout out to my husband, Richie V, for his birthday tomorrow. We watch your show every night. Love you, Turtle. Well, happy birthday, Richie V. Was it May 29th or 28th? I don't even know the date. I never know the date anymore these days. But happy fucking birthday. CO Eliza sends $10 and says, I think trial 2 is a masterclass on why mock trials with mock juries are worth the expense. I understand it's significant expense before trial, but this is a completely different trial than the first one. I wonder what the defense could have learned before the trial if they'd done a mock trial. Maybe. Thank you. Colin sends $10, goes, hey, Turtleboy, just wondering your thoughts on Welcher mentioning taillight pieces were found around John O'Keefe's body. They weren't found initially. That's a good point. I think you answered your own question there. Thank you. Lily sends $10, goes, as a pre-law political science major, it is so great to see something transcend party lines, isn't it? Really, it really is, especially in mass. We've talked about this case in classes. It's just not believable. Free Karen Reed and free Turtleboy. Turtleboy's going down. We're going down the history books, folks. Thanks. Laura sends $10, goes, dear doctor, what about the missing blood? Kidding. I always want to uplift you and Karen, but tonight my mom could use it. She has a kidney biopsy and is waiting for results. Please keep her in your prayers. She is my best friend, and the thought of losing her makes me break down. She thinks you are hilarious and may be watching tonight. I love you, Mom. You're my hero. Thanks, Doc. That's from Laura J. Well, I'm rooting for your mom too. Somebody who lost their mom 11 months ago. I know what it's like. So I'm praying for your mom that she holds on and that everything goes A-okay. And you're going to be all right no matter what, Laura. Thank you. Erin sends $25 and goes, free Karen Reed, free Turtleboy, free Erica Walsh, and tell Susan we missed her at Barry Manilow. Got more high fives and had people ask to get their picture with me because of my free Karen Reed gear. I felt like Dr. Daddy for a hot minute. Well, thank you, Aaron. Asserin sends $10, goes, Jud the Chud. I mean, you wear a free Karen Reed gear out, guys. People are going to love you no matter where you go. It's a great conversation starter. Highly recommend it. Jud the Chud has no dog in the fight, says Asserin Fish. How about the reputation of his company? Seems like a big deal. Turtleboy, when this is over, do we get a full accounting on how much the persecution of you and Karen Reed cost the state? I'd love to know. I know. How many millions of dollars did they spend on this? That's a great question. Jen sends $10 and goes, pretty sure we'll hear a lot more about the other accident victim in Alessi's cross. That pedestrian had many more injuries than John O'Keefe. Broken bones or not, what we all want to know is, did Judd dress up like him too? Right. Texas Prime sends $10, goes, could AJ possibly take over Cross with this Welcher guy? No, let Bobby Scissorhands finish it up when they get to the confirmation bias and why he used Karen Reed's video clips. I don't know the answer to that, but stick with him. Susan sends $5, goes, I heard a rumor that Peggy and Jen are having issues. Do you know anything about that? No, that's just this happens all the time. No, it's just another lie that you've been told. Peggy worships Jennifer McCabe. Jennifer McCabe showed up at court today and parked on the side and brought lunch to the O'Keefes. She did that today. Multiple people saw this happen. She brought pizzas. So that's who Jennifer McCabe, I mean, that's how fucking involved she is. Like, she's bringing pizza to Peggy O'Keefe to make sure that she's still under her watch. This is who Jennifer McCabe is. That happened. Like, she has Peggy O'Keefe firmly under control. Like, that's who she is. She is a control freak. Kerry's telling them everything. Yeah. Steven Seraph, I'm going to talk to him. That's who she is, man. So just forget about them ever turning on each other. It's not going to happen. Amy sends $10, goes, I just saw the pics of Sean, the Bachelor's dog attack injuries. It's the exact same as John O'Keefe's. Right. Sean, Bachelor, dog attack. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, they're very similar. Looking at it. They're very, Google it if you don't believe me. Thank you. All right, next up. Connie sends $10, goes, Welcher clearly watched Alessi into himself to Dr. Wolf. I don't know what that means. That is exactly what Alessi said to Wolf. Also, Man Shannon reminds me of Sheriff Farley from My Cousin Vinny on a Hunch. Yeah, but Sheriff Farley was fucking great. Sheriff Farley helped figure out who killed the guy from the sack of suds, you know? Thank you. Mon sends $10, goes, I just love the stuffing out of you. Go get him, darling. She called me darling. Thanks, Mon. I appreciate that. Jackie sends, and she loves the stuffings out of me. That's great. Jackie sends 25 smackaroos and says, Aidan, you are the absolute best. Oh, thanks, Jackie. I understand reading negative comments about yourself is infuriating and scary. I know 100% that God has got you. Please do another meal of food giveaway. I was 2 away from the winner the other day. I still haven't been contacted by the winner. She hasn't contacted me. There's a Megan Friel. You got to send me an email, doll, and we'll hook you up with the meal of food. Thank you. Chrissy Mello, our girl, sends $25 and goes, I just want to say congratulations and thank you to the 4 supporters that started the lawsuit against Bev and fought for all of us. Jason Grant, Allison Emily, Samantha Lyons, and Lisa Peterson. You are truly appreciated. Yes, they are. They did a great job, and we definitely had some add-ons there, you know. Without, you know, honestly, the catalyst that and Mark Randazza deserves all the credit with the Center for Liberty, because without them, none of this is possible. But you know, Erica got arrested for real. Like, without Erica getting arrested, like, that really changed everything. So, you know, shout out for that one. But great job by everyone. Megan Friel, Jesus Christ, she won the dinner and she just donated $250. And she has no comment. Come get your meal of food, Megan. Well, thank you. Mary sends $5 and goes, hey, Daddy, do you know what the McAlberts were meeting about the day before the waterfall? I don't know what you're talking about. So thank you. Brian Walsh sends $25 and goes, send Bernadette to the moon with Jud the Chud's replica Lexus. Jud working overtime to be the smartest guy in Norfolk County. Give me Trooper Paul. At least he wasn't arrogant enough to admit what he didn't know. I know. I'd take Trooper Paul any day of the week over that guy. Lena sends $10 and goes, did you zoom in on the picture of that other dead guy that was shown today? His arm looks completely detached. Severed counts as break to. I know. That was fucking disgusting. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Lena sends $10, goes, who is on your shirt? Well, that would be me, Journalism Jesus. And various McAlberts like Colin, Jen, Adam Lally, Chubbs McCabe. They're all in there. Thank you. Okay. And she also, Anna says, also, I emailed Auntie Bev and CC'd you. Just kidding. Husband and I love your show, doing God's work. Thanks, Anna. Mo Sam sends $5, goes, the shirt, you ask. That is journalism Jesus. Respect the turtle. Exactly. Thank you. Melissa sends $10, goes, hi, Turtle Boy. Maybe I'm missing something, but didn't Trooper Paul testify the key cycles 11 to 64 to 67 were his testing? That's what they tell me. I'd have to go review it. Making key cycle 1162 when Karen's car was towed. I think we went over this earlier. And wouldn't that obliterate Welcher's entire theory? Yes. I think that's what they're trying to get at towards the end of the testimony today. I guess they don't want Alessi to ask that, or maybe I'm missing something. Sending support from Southern California. Right. I think you get it. Nicole sends $5, goes, my blood pressure cannot handle this man. He infuriates me. Thank God for edibles. He's a mixture of Bukkake and Trooper Paul. That's a good way of, and a dose of whiffing. He really is. That's a good way of describing him. This case is a fucking joke. Exactly. Jenna sends $50 and goes, Dr. Welcher testimony was maddening. Wishing you the best of luck and full unwavering support in your outrageous, unethical upcoming trial on June 9th. Guys, I have a trial coming up with the fake victim. Who's coming? And Cosgrove today says he's filing for his own buffer zone. He wants a buffer zone outside of Dedham District Court. And he doesn't want people to wear Turtleboy shirts, which I'm game for. You shouldn't wear, it's a trial. You shouldn't wear, I don't want to seem like it's like we're the favorite, that we're like bullying people. Like, come dressed appropriately for court. Dedham District Court, June 9th, first Turtleboy trial is going to happen. Fake victim showing up to have me removed from court on purpose where she knows I am. And it's going to be legendary. And I'm going to take the stand and I'm going to speak my truth. And it's going to be dope. And I'm sure the Kearney retrial will be going on at that time. But you know what? There's a lot of sidebar at the Kearney retrial and a lot of, whatever. So it's going to be good. Maybe, will there be a camera for my trial? We'll see. Will there be a pool reporter? I don't know. Okay. Let me refresh that. Got a couple more here. Erica sends $25 and says, Buffer Zone shirt slogans to show support for Erica Walsh. You can't spell America without Erica. Oh, I like it. Don't ask how many years I've said this. Oh, because your name's Erica too. Thank you. Sarah sends $5 and goes, Turtle, it's driving me crazy. I really need to know who's on your shirt. I see Jesus, a middle finger, Lally, and possibly a female elf. Yeah, it's me. I'm journalism Jesus. We have Chubbs McCabe over there. Morrissey. Jen McCabe, Brian Albert, Chris Albert, Proctor, Lally, and Colin Albert's in there somewhere giving a finger. There's Colin. No, right there. There's Colin. Yeah. So there they are. Thank you. Tammy sends $10 and goes, why didn't they mention the bend in the road when he said she wouldn't have ended up on the grass? Give him time. Thank you so much for all you do. Love, Tammy. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Peter sends $10, goes, hey, Turtle, did you say last week that Higgins had John in the back of his car when he was at the cop shop late that night? Okay, I can't tell if you're kidding or not. Can't tell if you're just fucking with me. So, okay. All right, next up. Cash apps. Let me see if I have any cash apps, and we'll call it a night. EMC sends $10 and says, I have an Occiput boner migraine from Welcher. Don't we all? Sean sends $5, goes, Bernadette just left Aperture a 5-star Yelp review. Leslie sends $25, goes, I'm obsessed with your shirt. Love you. I'm not sure if this is in the new and revised Turtleboy store yet. A lot of people like the shirt. Yeah, I wear the shirt all the time. Surprised you guys never noticed it. Bill sends $20, goes, imagine the evil potential baby of McCabe and Welcher. Yikes. Don't want to think about that. Lopez sends $50 and goes, no question, just showing you support from Peabody. Love my Tanner Turtle Riders. I love it. Thank you. All right. So anyway, guys, that's about it. Well, it's been a good show. Good stream here. Back at it tomorrow, half a day. I won't be there tomorrow, but I will be there on Friday, hopefully inside the courtroom. So you guys have a great night, and, you know, keep up the great work and brush your teeth. All right. Peace to your bum crease.
It calls for data including calendars, alerts, reminders, notes, text messages, pictures, or videos from April 1st, 2023 through and including October 5th, 2023. 7 months